22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday on InTheMixRadio.com. We're on an extra hour early because it's our 200th episode. We finally hit that mark, and Cruz don't got my board up. I can't find my hand claps. Yeah. This? Okay. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. I don't think we Facebook Live yet. Are we Facebook Live yet? Let's see. Are we live? All right. We are live on Facebook. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday on InTheMixRadio.com. We're on an extra hour early today because it is our 200th episode. You don't have the effects thing up. There we go. Let's try that one more time. Not hearing nothing. We're not hearing nothing.
Well, in the meantime, Damon's on his way, and so it's Tasha.
Okay. So, real quick, so I just wanted to say it's our 200th episode. I want to thank everybody who is holding us down, everybody who has ever tuned in, everybody who can hear my voice and will hear my voice in the replay. This is our 200th episode. We started August 3rd, 2014. And we would not still be here if it wasn't for all of you. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody for holding us down. We definitely appreciate you. You can have the dopest show in the world, but if ain't nobody listening, I mean, what is it? So we thank all of y'all. Glenn Butler said, congratulations, thank you. David said, I'm on my way. Tasha Diaz said, heading down soon. Who else is on the check-in? We have Marvin Church. What's going on, Marvin? Cicely Greaves. Tuned in. So first, shout to all our sponsors and all who have made donations to the show, and you can still do that per PayPal throughout the show. I will put the PayPal link up in a minute. Shout to TY and Associates. I'm going to read their information a little later. My man Troy Youngblood, you need to get your taxes done. You know what I'm saying? And if you get your taxes done by him, he gives you a $25 Starbucks card. Yeah. So he gonna save you a couple of dollars and give you a $25 Starbucks card. I'll give you all his information later. Shout out to the Anti-Racism Alliance that sponsored us. Shout out to a few other people. I think GNS Gas. We have another sponsor. I'm going to read all that later. We'll get to that later. But I just want to thank Simone Combs just tuned in. Carmen Goldberg just tuned in. Cicely Greaves said, all the best. Here's to the 300th episode. I hear you. I like the way you think. And for everybody tuning in, that's why I said we're going to do the little PayPal. So we're not going to do the national news and all that stuff, but I do want to say two things. So thank goodness the shutdown is at least temporarily over, that people are going to go back to work, and that people are going to get their back pay. But I still think that he only did that because he could not have had the shutdown, the government shutdown, for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl would have been a disaster. All the rich white men that own them teams that probably vote for him and is probably in his base would have gave him a whole bunch of grief, because that would have been a whole lot of money they would have lost, because he's only extended it 3 weeks, like to right after the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, then he's threatening the executive action. And the only thing, another word I want to say is he's always talking about no collusion. Do not fall for that, because that's a sleight of hand. They're not saying he concluded the crime is conspiracy. That's the crime. So he can say no collusion. Yeah, there is no word collusion in the thing. It's a conspiracy. So anyway, enough of Trump. We got a full show today. We're gonna have some of the co-stars. Thank you, Bob. We're gonna have some of the co-stars making appearances throughout the day. We have special guests. We have the county executive, George Latimer, coming through. And we have now we can officially say it. We've called it that before, but we can officially say it. The Senate Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart Cousins, will be in the house. There's a whole lot of things going on right now. So if you see me looking around, Lee Carolyn Brown just tuned in. There's a whole lot of stuff going on right now. Who's that? Oh, okay. Oh, hey, how you doing, sir? Hey, how you doing, sir? You at your brother's, from the cookout at your brother's house? Yeah. Oh, wow. So we got people who be walking in and out. So anyway, who we have here now, we have the lovely Lorraine Lopez, and we have Dr. Bob Baskerville, a.k.a. Brooklyn Bob, one of the original hounds of the Baskervilles from back in the days, holding it down in the street. Word. So I want, before we get everybody here, since we got y'all here, this is our 200th episode show. This is going to be a celebration. What can y'all tell me? Do y'all have an idea? What was some of your either favorite shows, favorite memories, or favorite interviews that you participated in?
Wow. You know what, AJ?
I told you this.
I know. You prepped me for this question.
I told you about this. He said, okay, I'm going to think about it. Because, Bob, you got to think about it ahead of time.
Yeah. Obviously, I didn't think enough.
Me either. That's why I said go, Bob.
Well, I mean, quite honestly, it's been a pleasure for me to participate in all of the discussions that have taken place on set during the course of my involvement. I think they're all important, timely topics that both Mount Vernon in particular and Westchester County more broadly are struggling with. And so, to be quite honest with you, AJ,
I think one of your highlights has to be the first time Joe Pinion came.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you was very pleased by that.
I forgot. Yes, and I was sitting here probably in this very same seat. And
yeah, that's exactly where you were.
That's right. I was right here. And, I'm a pretty avid watcher of the major news programs, CNN, MSNBC, not so much Fox, although I do try to tune in.
I think he does headline news, too.
And I looked, and I had been very impressed by Brother Pinion, because it's very difficult to be a black or Latino Republican these days. So many of the policies that are coming out of the Trump out of the Republican Party generally, out of the Trump administration in particular, are very hard to defend. And I really was impressed by Joe's command of the philosophical foundations of the party, how it relates to the various kinds of policies that they're prescribing, and also his acknowledgement of some of the flaws, blind spots in some Republican policy, and also just in terms how they have responded to the unsettling and disquieting behavior of the Trump administration, which I think Joe has been willing to address forthrightly. And actually, so I don't know if Joe is listening. We would be lucky if he was, because I know he's back on the majors now that his first city council bid, assembly bid came to a conclusion. But we do continue to confront a number of important topics in Yonkers, especially that Joe has a wealth of insight and expertise that might help us to sort through some of these issues. So I'm really hoping that we have the opportunity to have him back on set.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for reminding me of that, AJ.
No doubt, no doubt. Marianne Erickson, welcome.
Hey, Marianne.
She said, "Amen. I've been saying this for 65 years. People are important. Jobs, healthcare, housing, school, for education. That's it. Fuck the rest." That was her comment.
Marianne, it's an individual that, you know.
So, I mean, some of the highlights that we've had, some of the highlights that I remember, and I'm gonna show a video some later. We had a local singer come. We had two local singers come through. Angela Johnson. She sang one of the favorite songs of her album that she did called Black Boy Lullaby. It was a beautiful song. I got a piece of that in the video. And what was great about it, it was written to her unborn son about the injustices he's going to face as a black man.
Is that right?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it was like we were dealing with the Eric Garner and all of those kind of situations. Right. And those are the topics we were talking at the time. And then she came and she sang that song live on the show. It was just like it was appropriate. Yeah, it was dope. So that was a highlight. Then we had Miss Irene Renee. She came through.
Oh my gosh, she was awesome.
She came through. We had what was great. We had the kids come through from Mount Vernon. I think for the Lion King Junior play, and they sang live, and they sang a cappella with no music, and they blew the roof off this place.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Facebook shut us down for copyright infringement because of the song. Because you can't do that.
In the middle of the song.
So in the middle of the show.
How about that?
Facebook stopped broadcasting. So yeah, they will shut you down for copyright infringement in a minute. And that was just with no music. They were just singing a cappella. That's how good they sounded like the real song. That it was copyright infringement. That was definitely a highlight. I think every time Andrew Stewart cousin comes on.
Oh yes, she's one of my favorites. Yes.
And as I will tell her when I get here, and she will see, I always get dressed up for Andrea. She's like,
yeah,
she saw me at her victory party. She said, "Oh, you got dressed up again?" I said, "I just did it for you, Andrea. I just did it for you," because she seen me at the show and then at the victory party, and somewhere else. So yeah. So I always get dressed up when Andrea's in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you all looking mighty sharp today.
Well, thank you. I tried to look presidential, editorial, or whatever the word is. Tried to look the part today. So we have another gentleman in the studio. Some of y'all may know, and some of y'all may not know. It is Atif K. Coleman, on Facebook known as Atif Khalil.
Absolutely.
He is the Mount Vernon correspondent, Black Westchester, Mount Vernon. He also is one of the founders of the activist movement Save Mount Vernon.
Yep.
So say a couple of words to the people real quick.
Well, thank you for having me on, AJ. 200, I can't believe it. We made it to 200. And I got to tell you, I forgot what episode I fell in love with Black Westchester, but I got to tell you, since I've been here, it has been a ride. And AJ will tell you, we've covered a lot, mostly politics, a lot of crime stories as well. But it has been an interesting ride. I want to say to AJ, thank you. Also to Brother Damon Jones, thank him as well for the opportunity. It's been a great, fun ride. I see nothing but future ahead of us in 2019, I think. Bob, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think AJ and Damon have made a dynamic team over the past couple of years, and they've provided invaluable leadership in the area of community
I think so
oriented
too.
media.
And I just want to acknowledge that although they have, been running Black Westchester with a fine-tooth comb, I think they've also, enlightened some people to want to get into citizen journalism like I have.
Absolutely.
So I really want to acknowledge that and thank you and Damon for the opportunity. And I think you guys have been doing great. I've seen a lot of great stories. I'm glad I'm able to contribute to that.
You have been a great addition.
Thank you, sir.
Some of your pieces have gotten hits off the top. Hey, what's up, sir? Hey. We got the photographer. Shane is in the house. If anybody who doesn't know Shane, the BW photographer.
Shane,
like
the
to come
man. The man is in the house.
While I'm on air, I know already you ready to dig in the bag.
We're gonna let him come in and say a couple of words too. Because he definitely makes us look good when he comes to the events and covers the events.
Okay.
He covered Andre's event.
Oh right, that's what I remember.
He covered Andrea's victory party. He covered Joe Pinion and Nada's fundraisers. He covered a fashion show for Fashion Week in New York City for us. So a lot of those really dope pictures that y'all seen is that brother right there. So he's gonna come in with you. I just want to say, so I went to church. I started the day for church this morning. So it was one of those things like I was up all night. I was working on videos, getting prepping for the show. I really slept for like 45 minutes. I was like, yo, man, I'm not gonna go to church because I'm gonna go to sleep in the church. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was good that I finally went because the message, Bob can tell you, Lorraine can tell you, Damon can tell you. Once I went down to Georgia, I'm getting ready to tell you. When I went to Georgia, I was really considering whether we were going to do Black Westchester in 2019. Some of the advertising had dropped a little bit. It was becoming a bit of a pulling teeth, to get people to advertise and make donations. That's one of the reasons we're having the show, so people can donate to the show and everything. And I was just like, yo, we got to do something different. And I was really wondering if it was making a difference and if, all of that and all that. So the topic today was basically don't quit. It was basically about, when you get selected to do something in particular, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. There's going to be a whole bunch of attacks. There's going to be a whole bunch of naysayers. There's going to be a whole bunch of, it's just going to be a whole bunch of drop. There's going to feel moments you're going to feel like quitting. There's going to be moments you just don't feel like, yo, is it worth it? And I felt all of that. You know what I'm saying? And the theme of the message was just don't quit. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like the sermon title was like, I'm anointed for this or something like that. But it was like basically don't quit, don't abort the mission. And it's funny because a lot of time that's the advice that I give other people. You know what I'm saying? I use those words quite frequently. Don't quit, don't abort the mission, don't quit just before your blessing. Like a lot of people, whether it's in church they say your blessing, whether it's in the world they say you're waiting for your ship to come in. A lot of people, when it does come in, they're not ready for it. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Or they quit just before it got there. Mm-hmm. So it was talking about being in position and preparation, and those are the words that Bob's been hearing me say a lot lately. About better, we be in position and better preparation for all the things we want to do. And I really want to give Bob. I said this before. I want to give him props because he answered the call. One of the major areas I needed the most help was on the administrative and organizational sides. And Bob has came in and he's working with that. And he got a bunch of things that he already got in the fire, and he's putting proposals together and writing grants and setting stuff up and doing all kinds of stuff that I really don't want to do and don't have time to do, but things that need to be done. You know what I'm saying? So it's been a big, he answered the call. So I just want to again for this show give him props. And while I'm talking about you, your boys on Kevin Hope just tuned in.
Oh, Kev is on. Kev, what's up, man?
And shout out to Uncle Frank Julio Jr.
Frank.
Tuned in.
Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank's in the house.
Yeah. Yo, it's funny because he said congratulations to me for something, and I say, yo, thank you, Uncle Frank. And people that was related to me was like, yo, Uncle Frank, that white man's your uncle? Like, he ain't related to us. Like, who is he?
Big family.
That's what we call him. We call him Uncle Frank.
Brother from another mother, right?
Yeah, we call him Uncle Frank. So, but people was wondering, shout out to, I got another cousin tuned in, Wayne Robinson Sr., tuned in. Frank said congratulations. Thank you, Frank. I don't know who's calling me, but I cannot answer that phone right now. So you hear the Nas playing in the background.
That's what it was. They wanted to get a little drop.
Yeah. Well, everybody liked that when you call me, you hear Rakim. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, don't pick up, AJ.
Yeah. People be like, yo, it's funny because you'll get these big, important politicians and heads of companies, and they like these straight-laced people, and some of them are white, and it just be like, oh man, I'm mad you picked up. Like, oh, that took me back. Like, and he was like, yo, that was my jam, and I'm like,
they be Ari Melbourne on you, huh?
Yeah. Yo, that's my man.
Yeah,
Ari, that's my man on MSNBC.
Yeah, good dude.
That's my dude.
Him and the other girl.
I always want to give him props because,
like
I told Rashad, I'm a hip hop head. I'm a hip hop head for life. Once you're a hip hop head, you always a hip hop head. He sprinkles in.
And there's another lady too.
He sprinkles in hip hop vernacular in his
Rachel.
whole thing. He'll have Big Daddy Kane on. He'll have 50 Cent on, breaking down politics or something, and he'll throw a Jay-Z lyric. He was like, yo, Biggie said more money, more problems. Now Trump got more Mueller, more problems.
Exactly.
I was like, yo, I was feeling that. Like, yo, he throw it down like that. So that's dope. It inspires me because some of this stuff you hear is the same thing over and over, and it gets boring. But he makes it interesting. And have 50 Cent said, whenever whatever he gonna talk about, we know it's gonna be a whole lot cooler because he talking about it. So shout to him. But yeah, so that was inspired when I came out of church today. I was like amped. I told Lorraine, I texted her, I was like, yo, this is like, I needed to be here. She was like, that's awesome. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. So I am not quitting. I am not aborting the mission, but we cannot do it without your help. I put the PayPal link up there. Thanks to all the people
that are coming to visit.
Yeah, and shout out to people that have already Mike Hannon, Lauren Razor just blessed us on the way in. I heard seeing the PayPal button before we came in. Anti-Racism Alliance, I said. Red Blue Talk. Charles Stern blessed us, and
shout out to Charles Stern.
Yes,
gas station in Yonkers.
Yes, and we're gonna do their commercial in a minute. And a couple other people, but those are the people that just hit recently. And I just want to thank everybody who wants to, but like I said, to keep going, we will need your help. So to keep us going, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, AJ, that the challenges that Black Westchester is facing as it tries to replace local news is not unique to Westchester County alone. If you actually look at the transformation of the media industry over the past 3 or so decades, as more and more news divisions have been forced to generate more profits, what we've seen is that news coverage, especially of local issues, has been sidelined in order to make money. And what this
everybody turn their phones on vibrate.
Yes.
and
me too.
And it occurs at the very same time that the reliance on ad revenue as the main generator has kind of dried up almost to a trickle because of changes, because of the rise of the internet, social media. So, for one, I just want you to know, say on air, that this is a challenge that lots of news outfits are facing, especially those that want to cater to the interests and needs of local residents. And I want to reiterate, and I've said this time again, to all of the people who are listening, that if we're going to develop a new model for effective community journalism in Westchester County that addresses issues that ordinarily fall below the radar, then we are going to need our readers, our listeners, to understand that we cannot do this without their support.
Absolutely.
And I just want to add, there's been some, and I won't say who, but there's been some local media that has to put a paywall up now. You know what I'm saying? And we're trying not to have to do that. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep it free for the people. Where because if you like Loha, after you read your 6 or 7 articles for the month, you're done until you pay for it.
But there's a back door to that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
We can't go turn that away.
Yeah.
What could the answer be? No.
So that's So we don't. No. I got dressed up for her. She coming right now. She stayed the whole show. She won. I was just getting ready to say.
I want to say. Can I?
I want to say, but other people. So that's the new thing. Putting up a paywall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And without your support, we're gonna have to end up doing that. And then there's the paid editorials, where people are paying for, basically their propaganda or whatever they want. You know, like there's some place they got Con Ed, and Con Ed puts out whatever they want. Right. You know what I'm saying? It may not necessarily be the story you should be doing to inform the people, but it's what Con Ed wants them to know. But they're paying for that. You know what I'm saying? And without the involvement of those who are advertising and stuff, you have to end up doing that. And we don't want to take money and put up people's propaganda. We don't want to put up paywalls. We don't want to have to charge people to come on the show. Right. That was another thing. People was like, oh, y'all need to charge them people when they come on. Because there's a lot of times when we work in the community, situations like OMI and other situations like that, the people that need the help, they can't afford to pay to come on the show. Like, that's why they coming to us to get their story out, because they need help. And for us to continue to do that work.
No, that would not be cool.
It's freedom's not free. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, to continue to do that work is going to continue. We're going to continue needing the advertisers to come through, people to sponsor. Shout to all the people, because there have been other people throughout the 4 years who've just said, yo, AJ, I love what y'all doing. I got nothing to advertise, and just gave me a check. We just want to keep y'all going. And those things help, but we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? From those who can. Those who can't. But those who can, so we can keep it free. So I wanted to, I was going to play this later, but since, I got to find the screen. He didn't put that on either. Since she's coming in early, I'm going to play this video earlier, too.
Let me give a shout out to the lovely Tracy Cates, who has joined us on air.
Hey, Tracy.
What's up, Trace?
And also the brother Plumber. Kenneth Plummer has joined us.
Kenneth Plummer, how are you,
Good
sir?
to see you on the check-in, brother.
And my girlfriend, Valerie Alvarez, is on, too.
Hello, Valerie Alvarez. How are you doing?
Hey, Valerie.
Wait, Bob.
I think this is Frankie Crocker or something.
The Chief Rocker.
Yeah.
Oh, he got rid of one of my windows. Yo, he moved some stuff around. I can't get to what I need to get to there. Cruz. All shots. I found it. Okay, we want that shot. Okay, I'm gonna play this. While we're working out, we got different people. The Senate Majority Leader's coming in a little earlier. Damon will be here earlier. Tasha will be here later. I said earlier. Later. I was going to play this video later. It's a video I put together of some of my favorite moments over the past 199 episodes. So I'm going to share that with y'all, and y'all can watch that real quick. I am your host, AJ Woodson. We're going to have a lot of things to talk about. Taking a little break from the political candidates coming in. We're going to deal with some issues that have to do with the community like we always do. Black by popular demand, we got the brother, Damon K. Jones in the house.
What's up? Hey.
We got the lovely Lorraine Lopez in the house.
Hello.
Queen of the comeback.
Queen of the comeback.
and you fit right in, because I'm like, I got a couple of calls this week, and these be them calls I used to get about Damon when we first started Black West. They'd be like, yo, I like what you're doing, but you might want to watch the company you keep.
Oh man.
That guy's gonna get you in trouble.
That means she's official. She's official now.
Little did they know. Then they found out a couple of months. They was like, oh, we gotta watch him too.
We want to welcome everybody to the show.
This is our 50th show.
50th show.
Episode of People Before
5-0. We the big 5-0.
Yes. Welcome to People Before Politics
yes.
Radio. Black Westchester presents. This is the first show of the year. We took 2 weeks off. My man D Cruz, shout out to Cruz. Got a bunch of new toys and bells and whistles in the studio. Picture looks much clearer. Sound is clearer. Yo, got a couple of new microphones up in the joint. Yo, we about to have some fun.
The one that charges more money rent.
BlackWestchester.com presenting People Before Politics. Real talk for the community. We got Damon K. Jones in the house.
Yep.
We got the lovely Cynthia Turnquest Jones in the house.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
I am AJ Woodson in the place to be today. Finally, been MIA the last couple of months, a week. So
True indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, testing 1 2. That's what's up.
We got AJ Woodson in the house. We got Damon K. Jones in the house.
Yes. We got General Black from the ET6 Radio.
Yes.
He just stopped, and I told him I was just sit down. Sit down.
They drag.
Real quick, anything?
Nah, listen, man. I'm a fan of the show. Y'all are my brothers.
Welcome, Dr. Bob, in the place to be. And I posted the picture of our guest today, and the number one thing that I heard from everybody is, "Oh, damn, I thought that was David Dinkins." I can show you the comments. That's what everybody.
People think you David Dinkins, man.
Like, yo, you got David Dinkins on the show. So welcome, Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob Bashville just walked in the place to be, and our special guest.
Yes.
As we have been talking about the last couple of weeks, is none other than the former Mount Vernon Police Commissioner, Clyde Isley. And I want to give you an official Black Westchester round of applause.
Thank you.
That's pretty amazing, man.
First, I don't know. Were you the youngest city council person in the city of Peekskill?
I would have been,
okay.
But my teammate Vanessa Agudelo, she is now the youngest.
Okay, so you were.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the point of. Are you now the youngest mayor?
I am the youngest.
Okay, so we had a situation. Not to compare it, and hopefully we'll have different results.
Okay.
You had a one-time city councilman who made history as the youngest city councilman and ran for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And how many terms had Frank been the mayor?
He was mayor for 2 terms.
Okay, so the dethroned and then made history as the youngest mayor.
The youngest
and
mayor.
they the history of Peekskill.
Yes,
so
sir.
that alone deserves another round of applause right there. Brother doing his thing. A lot of times, you find the older people will say.
And all the way up until the election, I was just the cool guy. And then, when the election came, I became this demon DJ, rapper, gangster, killer, hater. You know what I'm saying? So, my first few years as councilman was a great experience because they put pressure on me that I needed.
So we're starting off the show, and I'm honored to have Sister Salam here to come up to the People Before Politics show.
Absolutely.
And give her experience as a mother of a young black man who was wrongfully convicted. Yusef Salam of the Central Park 5. She has a story to tell. And not only she has a story to tell, she has lessons to give the community, our community leaders, and other mothers that children have went through this process that people don't know about. There's millions and millions of black men that have been wrongfully committed, and there's some have made the front page, and some we just don't hear about because they don't get that type of attention. So I'm glad to have her. We got to give her a hand clap, brother. We got to. Yeah.
I just want to say, I got to make a joke. Mr. Johnson over there being the ultimate politician, he came back the second time with his Black Lives Matter shirt. He said, I'm going on People Before Politics. I got to have a Black Lives Matter.
It's hot up in here today. We're going to need it today, too. We're going to need it.
Yeah. So I was like, he knew what show he was coming back to, so he played that part.
What is your assessment on what's going on in New York and the rest of the United States?
Well, it seems like we are having a epidemic of deaths and an epidemic of people who are being incarcerated of color. And this epidemic has been going on for quite some time, but it's only now that we have, thanks to the camera and the phones and all of that stuff, been able to document it. Because if this had not been documented, everyone would be running around talking about, oh, they must have did something, they were getting ready to do something, they looked like they was going to do something, or the police would have not have bothered these people in any way. But this has been going on for years and years and years. And to hear that it's still going on today, it's really quite sad, because it started, when you think of it, at the end of slavery, but it was going on during slavery as well. But when it started at the end of slavery, they reinstituted it into a way of life where black people were being hung and murdered, and women were being raped all up and down, and all kinds of social injustice was going on.
Yes. That was a brief. Video retrospective. Thank you, Bob. See, Bob always come with those great words. I was just gonna say memories, but retrospective sounds so much better. Shout out to Joanne Capadani. She used to have a show on here. Shout out to Montica. Shout out to John Rivera. Said, hey guys. Shout out to Mark Marine. I'm a DJ named DJ Slash. What's up, DJ Slash? What's going on? Mutombo Muhammad said happy 200th. Y'all ever considered donations and fundraising PBS style? Well, Mutombo, actually, this is kind of our version of this. We're trying, man. I got the PayPal link up there, and we got the donation bucket here. Lorraine got a donation bucket if anybody walks in the studio, but we got the PayPal button up for people to make donations actually while we're on the air. Yes. And anybody who wants to leave write a check, I will give you an address where you can mail it in. If you want to pledge, just put in the comment section, I'm pledging such and such, and we will definitely thank you. But yes, this is our version. This is we're gonna do something like that, but this is our version of that because I've never done anything like that. So this is our version. We got memories and we got special guests and we're gonna have fun. So thank you for that. And Mutombo, if you want, you can hit the PayPal button and the link, and you could definitely make a donation as we're on the air right now. And I'm going to put it back on the thing. Cicely Grieve said, hello, Lorraine, glad to see you. And to your co-host, Bob. She said, hey, guys. Valerie Alvarez said, hey. Y'all told Tracy Cates already. I think that's everybody. This is the PayPal link.
Did you say Paul Anthony Cuesta?
No, I'm sorry, Paul. What's going on, Paul? I did see your name when the video was playing. I was looking on my phone. Shout out to Monty Whitaker, my homeboy in Prince George County, Maryland. We go way back. That's my dude. He's holding it down. He's tuned in. Daniel Terry. I actually think that's AO Joints.
Oh.
Yeah. Shout out to AO. I only know because I got a text one day. I was like, wait, who? And then I seen the Facebook. So, Yeah, I really never knew your name because I always just knew AO Joints. Like that was like your name. Like I know that's not the government, but that's all I ever knew. But shout out to you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Alita Johnson, hello, cousin. How you doing? I got a couple of cousins tuned in. Appreciate all of that.
House, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's right. I'm sorry. I did not put your mics back on. Yeah, now y'all are on. I was the only one on.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob was trying to talk, and I was like, not letting him.
In any event, we were shouting out AO. Joining you, shouting.
That often, not letting anybody speak for me. Shout out to Janelle Albritton. She
the lovely
is the owner of the Mount Vernon Post. That used to be the Mount Vernon Inquirer. She is the proud new owner. She's on her second, third, fourth issue. What?
This month is fourth.
She's putting this month is her fourth issue. You can find it everywhere you could find the Mount Vernon Inquirer throughout Mount Vernon. It's the Mount Vernon Post. So check out.
Absolutely want to give a shout out to Janelle for also trying to fill the need for vibrant, relevant, local news journalism.
Absolutely.
That isn't covered main strength.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's important.
And she gives you, and she hates the word I use. She gives you all the happy-go-lucky. So the events and stuff. She's not gonna get deep in the dirt, but you know what? There's a need for that. The positive stuff. I mean, I just feel like people always say that, we don't, we make. First of all, people say we make Mount Vernon. I get this pet peeve. I get this. Oh, you're making Mount Vernon look bad. No. First off, the people who are doing the things that they're doing, they ain't making Mount Vernon look bad. Secondly, thank you very much. Secondly, by not talking about the things that are problems, they don't go away. You understand what I'm saying? But if you don't address the problems, they don't go away. So by putting your head in the sand and just never speaking about nothing is wrong, because you don't want to make the city look bad, basically the city looks bad because there's a lot of bad stuff going on. And it needs to be exposed. Absolutely. People's feet need to be held to the fire, and that's what we do. Is we try to educate people, hold people's feet to the fire, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but there's always a place for more papers, and the Inquirer, shout to Joe Parisi. The Inquirer held it down for 12. Okay, like Jay-Z said, they held it down for 14 summers. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
So I think he said 4 summers in his rhyme though. But
I like that.
Yeah. But I mean, he held it down as the kind of the sole voice of Mount Vernon at some point. And he covered. I mean, it was good. He did his thing. I think he's coming back on just the website though. Mm-hmm. The Inquirer is coming back online. I don't know when, but I saw an announcement from him and his wife. They're going to do the online thing. So
I believe
I saw that too. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see more from the Inquirer.
What would be the content? Will you do local news, stories?
I don't know. He's probably going to do much of what he was doing.
Okay.
He's just not doing the paper.
Got it.
And with I'm telling you, it's a struggle to put out a paper every month and to get advertising every month. You have them really, really good months, and they'll pay for like 2-3 months. You know what I'm saying? Then you got them slow months to be like, yo, it's like, hey, and people don't answer the phone call. And then you got to chase people down for their checks. So it's a struggle, but he won't have that.
You need to let one of the hounds of the Baskervilles get after him, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Track down those check holders.
We've been blessed with several people, a couple of people. One, Lorraine.
No messing around.
Lorraine is somebody, she get on the phone and you don't answer her call, she will keep calling you. And while she's been too busy lately, we first started off Priscilla. Priscilla used to be, when Astorino wouldn't give us a comment or something, she would go to his office. Like she was like, you gonna
take
give
a comment?
Westchester a comment. She'd pop up at Reggie's office, she'd pop up anywhere. And you gonna give us a comment. You're not gonna ignore my phone call. And she just pop up on people. And when they would supposed to advertise or she got on them. She got on them. So shout out to Priscilla. I think I seen her. She was somewhere. I forgot where she is. I seen her picture of her somewhere on Facebook. But she's not in New York though. We wanted to have her come through too. She's definitely been. And Priscilla is actually why we have the show. She had a show on here with Dion Bridges and a few other people, and it was actually called the Power Hour, and Damon was an invited guest. And as everything we do, when Damon goes speak, I take pictures and video and everything, and we like to set up and we talk to crews, and but then 2-3 weeks, a month later, we had a show. Yeah, so that's so shout out to Priscilla and the Power Hour that used to be on this network. I think they were on Wednesdays or something. I'm not sure.
Shout out to Priscilla. I think I saw a picture of Priscilla walking around in the all black everything somewhere.
Yes, today.
She had the fedora on, right?
Yes,
today.
Today.
All right.
Yes.
I'm a fan.
So, Lorraine, did you have a chance to think about any memories? Any favorite shows? Any favorite interviews? Any favorite experiences since you've been on the show?
I like it more. My very first was the first day I was here, where I was.
What was that?
I think the man is in the house.
The mayor of Black Westchester is here.
No, but you know what I wanted to do real quick? I just wanted to give a shout out.
Absolutely.
And a congratulations on behalf of Mayor Spano. He really wanted to be here, but he had other things going on his schedule. We only gave him a couple of days notice.
Shout out to Mayor Spano.
What's up, Dave?
And as y'all can see, Black by popular demand.
DK,
what's up,
what up, baby?
Is in the
We got
building.
a chair over there?
Oh
yeah. Come on.
Yes. Is that screen is not on though?
Can you make it up? Can you get it on?
No, because we have the outside screen on. Our team's gonna be doing interviews out there.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Oh, you doing the outside?
Yeah. Atif work.
Where's everybody going?
Well, somebody sit down.
Okay, well sit at that.
Atif
Listen, this is the next generation. We're trying to bring up the next generation.
Atif is doing
people before politics, man.
Atif is doing the green room.
Yeah,
we got the green room shot. So,
okay.
So when people come through, particular people, we're gonna shoot out to we're gonna shoot out there. So I ran a video. You wasn't here. Had a bunch of clips.
Yes, I was catching them. Driving down.
And then we shared a few memories, and Lorraine was sharing her memory.
All right.
Well, you finished?
Did I interrupt? I'm sorry.
No,
let's just keep rolling.
When you came through, she said, "The man's here. The man's here."
The man.
Stopped talking. She was like, So Damon K. Jones is in the building.
Yes.
Again, this is our 200th episode. This is the People Before Politics radio show. Damon and I started Black Westchester in July of 2014. And again, I was just telling the story. We came down here while you was on Priscilla's show, the Power Hour.
Yes.
And they were interviewing you, or you were speaking on
yes.
some topic. I was taking pictures, and we talked to crews, and like weeks later, we had our first show.
Exactly.
August 3rd, 2014. And now that was episode 1, and then this is episode 200.
Yeah,
the
man.
200th episode. Like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around that. Like, really, like, we did the 100. That was a big celebration too. But this is 200. We've done 200 shows.
Yeah, wow. And I think it's a blessing, man, that we're able to do 200 shows, and I hope God blesses to do 200 more.
Well, somebody already said here's to the 300th show. So
yeah. We get to the 500, we're going to really go crazy. We're gonna have like a, like you said, the PBS thing. We're gonna be here all day, like raising money.
But we're doing that today.
Yes.
And the PayPal link
yes,
is
PayPal
there.
link is up. I saw it. The PayPal link is up. Please,
we got a couple.
This is independent media, independent radio.
Shout out to your boy Mike Hannon. He made the donation earlier today.
Thank you. We keep it 100 for the community. And before I get into my spiel, I'm gonna let this young man introduce himself. Me and his father go back years.
And after that, the senator's coming in. She's coming early. The senator.
Oh, she's in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Have her come in and sit right there.
Yeah.
My name is Daniel Chavert. I'm Jose Chavert's son. I've taken an interest in radio, and my dad told me that you guys had a successful radio show here, so I'm here to kind of see what it's all about and take some notes on it.
That's
very interesting. I really like the setup.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
I mean, he looks just like his father 20 years ago.
20 years ago, right?
Shout out to Walia Westchester. They just tuned in.
Oh yeah. But welcome, man. Welcome, and I hope you have a great experience, man. The doors always open to come, man. We always like to have a different generation giving their opinions and you know and
you,
asking questions.
Yeah, you're definitely welcome to come through. We're on Sunday 6 to 8.
Okay.
We also have the newspaper and the website. We do, cover stories.
And
so if you ever want to cover a story or something, or express your opinion about something on political or something in the community that you just want to bring some attention to,
sounds good.
We definitely welcome you. So tell us a little bit about yourself real quick.
I went to Sleepy Hollow High School. I graduated in 2015.
Okay.
I played football. I played pretty much every kind of sport, but I was really into the media program while I was there. And I kind of had my own little segments here and there on our little weekly broadcast. And then I went to University of Alabama, and then now I'm at WCC.
Okay, great.
Finishing up.
Great.
So,
you do anything on the radio up there?
At WCC? No, I started taking a radio class this semester, and they were talking about getting involved with the radio show. So I'm thinking about doing that.
Oh, definitely, man. If you can, definitely do it.
Interesting.
And if you want to intern, you're always welcome to come here, bro.
Yeah.
You're always welcome to come here, man.
That sounds good.
You're always welcome to come here.
So real quick, Atif, turn on your mic real quick. Who do you have out there? Who's out there?
Yes, AJ, we have our county executive, George Latimer, here with us.
Oh,
how are you,
Mr.
Latimer?
Good evening, everybody. How you doing?
Say a couple words.
AJ, do you have us? Can you see us?
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to make sure we get the, the county exec on here, all right?
So is Andrea on her way right now?
Andrea's here.
She's here. Andrea's here.
Oh, she's here too.
She's ready. She's ready to go.
We're going to bring the Senate Majority Leader first, if the county executive doesn't mind waiting. Okay, there you go. So we have him in the house. We thank you for coming through to help celebrate our 200th episode with us. And we would like to welcome to the show She's not ready?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You can't. You're talking to me while I'm talking.
Give him a minute.
Oh, okay. So we're going back to the inside shot now. There we go. So so now we got the new thing. We can go outside and we can shoot. Okay, everybody's moving and I'm watching everybody and it's very distracting sometimes.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
we have 2 seats. We have 2 seats free.
There you go.
We could bring them both in. I mean, yes, please come in.
Okay.
Why don't I just move over here?
We can do that. Go knock on whose door. The pause thing is not coming on.
Haven't seen you since last year.
How are you? I know.
Right.
Happy New Year.
And as always, I dressed up for you. Like I only dress up for you.
I'm always impressed when I see you. It makes me happy. I don't believe you only dress for me though.
Ask them how
exactly.
Sure as hell didn't dress for me.
I only put the tie on for you. This is for you. This look is for you today. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I'd have on the T-shirt he had on. That's what I would have on right now. The Black Westchester T-shirt.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could come in a T-shirt too, man. Next time.
I gotta bring you one, man. I gotta bring you one.
Double XL. Now.
So we're still working on a couple of things. The thing's not playing. Okay. We have in the house for our 200th episode. We have I can say it officially.
Yes, you
the
can.
Senate Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart Cousins, and we have our County Executive, Mr. George Latimer. Pleasure. What's the button?
And exactly. There you go. I was waiting too.
It's not under effects no more. It's under music now. I'm like,
okay.
I'm hitting effects and there's ain't no effects coming up, and I'm like, okay. We had to have the owner come in here and show us a little something. And shout out to Shane. This is Shane, and he came to your victory party.
I
took pictures.
I do. I
saw
the great pictures. Hi, Shane. It's good to see you.
And he let you know that you are his senator because he's in your district.
Yeah, he's mine. That's right.
So I wanted to ask you. I wanted to get right into it because I don't want to waste any of your time.
Yeah.
Now that you are, how does that feel? Because this is something that you should have been, and you've been trying to achieve, and it's finally here. So what does that mean for what does that mean now?
Well, I mean, when you say that think we the people were trying to achieve
Right.
this. You know,
Yes,
I mean,
right.
it
Right.
really.
I mean, it actually is.
Yes, and I appreciate. First of all, let me congratulate you on 200 shows. What an amazing! Thank you. It's really exciting. And so when you reached out and said, "Could I be here for it?" I wanted to because you're an important voice in the community. And you've been doing, you know, this is a commitment, as I said all the time. It's not easy to publish the papers. It's not easy to stay on top of the pulse of the community. So I appreciate the fact that you are doing it. And I wish you, you know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more.
Well, let me say this real quick. So when we first did the show, and this is somebody who is not in the black community, who doesn't deal with the black issues, was a very important person in the show, they said, you know, people wasn't, you know, oh, they just a local show. And it was when you came on, it was one of our first 5 shows.
It was you and Ken.
And it was like, you gave us credibility. It was like, yo, literally, seriously. People was like, oh, they got her on? Oh, they're for real. Like, they're a real show. Like, we wasn't just a local little thing no more.
I love it.
It was like, yo, so it was like, and this is somebody, like I said,
an
avid reader of the black community, but was so thoroughly impressed. A lot of people outside of our community were thoroughly impressed that you were on our show, and then started paying us a little bit more attention. So we thank you for being one of our first, in the first 5 or 6 shows, you were one of our first guests.
Great.
Exactly.
You know, well, good.
Exactly.
It makes me feel good to know that, and that's part of it. That goes back to the first question about waiting for this or that. You know, we know that.
Well, I was trying to be nice. You should have had it, and there was a group of people that circumvented the situation, and that's the reason you didn't have it. That's where
I know
that's
exactly.
Where I'm going.
I knew exactly what you were saying, and
right.
I knew that. I knew what you were saying, but you know, people had to wake up to what the circumstance was, and until it got painful,
right?
You know, nobody was going to do anything. Right. And after the 2016 election, the November 2016 election, and certainly our county executive is he would have won, I'm sure, anyway, but the tidal wave that brought him in was a direct result of people becoming aware of the fact that things aren't the way they keep voting for them to be. They aren't the way they want them to be. And in order for them to get what they want in these positions, they have to get activated, they have to vote, they have to pay attention. And so that's what happened after 2016, that because we had this group of people who were empowering
and
Republicans.
They don't even deserve to be mentioned. That's why I'm not even giving them no.
You know, and the Republicans were using them despite their dwindling numbers to continue to maintain power. So all of the things that we thought we could do, people thought we should do. You know, this group who were Democrats were saying, well, you know, we can't do it because it's a divided Senate. But it was divided because
right.
All the votes were there in 2012.
That's right.
December of 2012. To make Andrea head of the Senate 6 years ago.
That's right.
And it was a BS narrative that denied it, but
thank you.
Denied but not ended.
Yes.
Or delayed but not
delayed.
Denied.
And they had gone on their own back in 2010. So actually, this had been going on for a very long time. And part of the leadership change was because they were saying, oh, well, I didn't want to be there because I didn't like the other leader, blah, blah. So, you know, be that as it may, here we are. And I want to say that I've been on the job 2 weeks, and we have already passed early voting in New York
that
State.
Was very,
yes.
Thank you. We've already combined the congressional primaries with the state primaries, so there's one primary date
we're
now.
We're going to get to that.
So
that's one of my next questions for you.
We already did that. We already affirmed a woman's right to choose and tightened up our reproductive health laws.
Yeah, so Fox and Friends had a field day with y'all.
Exactly.
They had a field day. You're in the picture.
They
had a field day with y'all.
You know, you listen, they didn't think these things were going to happen, but we're in New York. I mean, we did the DREAM Act finally.
Yes.
You know, we said that it's not okay to discriminate against the transgender community. We did gender. We said, just like the county did, that conversion therapy is not anything the state is going to support. You know, we're going to do a big gun package next week, so stay tuned. We're going to tell people that, you got to lock up your guns, and, we're going to have safe storage here. We're going to have the buyback program. I know the Nolans might be listening, and we are pushing that, so that'll happen. We're going to make sure that the extreme risk protection orders are in place, so that if somebody raises a red flag about Johnny who's stockpiling or guns, and he's not been acting in a way that makes you comfortable, we will have that. We're going to ban the bump stocks, same way they did in Florida. We're going to expand the number of days for a background check. Right now it's only 3. Of course, nationally they don't have one, but it's only 3 now. But it turns out that the majority of people who apply for these guns get them if their background is clear within the 3 days. But if there is any question at all, it takes longer. So what we're doing is we're expanding it so that we will give the proper authorities, if there is a question, to be able to examine what the details are, as opposed to right now, if you don't have it in 3 days, they just give you the gun, which is not the point. So we are... we're saying that we don't want our teachers armed in schools. I mean, there's just a number of important things that we will do next week and every week after that. And it's just, I wanted to hit the ground running because we'd waited too long.
We have a comment. Nazarene Duncan, her son she lost her son to senseless gun violence. And when you were talking about the thing, she was like, "Yes, Senator, yes." So I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
And I just wanted, before the next question, I wanted to compliment you on this previous election.
Yeah.
I thought the way you handled it was very regal. And I wrote that, like, you know what I'm saying? It was you
got that word from Bob?
No, actually I wrote
regal.
Actually I've been writing that ever since we wrote the first article that we support Andrea. I said she's handled with the things with the governor and all that. I said she handled all that regally too. And I thought that was very good. And Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high.
We go high.
And that's exactly what you did. You didn't get pulled into that. And I thought that deserved to be complimented. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, the point is to stay high because, there's always going to be somebody who's going to drag you down or want to discredit you or whatever. But, my objective is to stay on a level that respects the people and respects the fact that you've allowed me. And I have to come back to you every couple of years and ask you to allow me to go back again. It's a very, very sacred trust that you have, and I got to stay high.
And the people overwhelmingly, like people know that word overwhelmingly, 81%
That's
is
right.
overwhelming.
That's right.
Like, a lot of people a lot of politicians are throwing overwhelmingly.
No.
81% is
That's
overwhelming.
But there was also a lesson to be learned. Don't mess with Andrea.
Yes,
Don't mess with the senator.
Yes.
You know what I loved is that my district, and I know a lot of people don't know, I mean, this is my hometown, Yonkers, but my district is Yonkers. I share it with Shelley Mayer. I used to share it with George.
Right.
But now I have half of Yonkers, 3/4 of White Plains, half of New Rochelle, Greenberg, all of the river towns, and Scarsdale.
Right.
And that was my average everywhere in each part of my district, which really is heartening for me. But it also, again, says that people are paying attention and they know what they know. People discredit the electorate in so many ways. I never have taken it for granted. George is another person.
Let me tell you, I campaigned with Andrea during her primary campaign last year, particularly outside of Yonkers, because my base includes New Rochelle and White Plains, places that I've campaigned in before. I've gone into places 8 and 12 and 10 times, and I'm very well liked there. But I walk in, and the room goes like, "It's Andrea." It's a whole different thing. And that happened in the White Plains Senior Center. It happened in the New Rochelle Senior Center. And that is why she's not just our Andrea from Yonkers and New Rochelle.
Right.
This is what's happened on a statewide level. Many of the things that they're doing now, we did the junior version of a year ago. And when you see that it wasn't a terrible thing to ban conversion therapy, that there's no argument. And that's why she's getting these things through like a knife going through butter. It's very impressive to see.
Now, when shout out to Peekskill Mayor Andre Rainey, who's tuned in.
Hi,
and was our
Andre.
guest last week. Now, I want to get straight into it. There has been a change in the election cycle. And, you know, we try to educate people.
Right.
So, one, why is there a change? And two, what is that change? So people know we got a new primary date. There's a new date to get the ballots. It's not after Memorial Day no more. It's coming up right now.
Well, what had happened was because of the federal government, a few years ago, the judge had said that the Congress had to change when they did elections because there was not enough time between the way the primary is in September, or the way it was in September for the congressional people. There wasn't enough time, say if there was some dispute around the congressional ratings, for there to be a decisive a decision as to who would be the nominee for November for people who are serving in the military. So the problem was that they couldn't get the military ballots out in time to get them back, and they didn't want to rob the voice of those who are serving us overseas. So the judge required the Congress to move their primaries earlier and set it in a June date. So we, however, were not under that same mandate. So people were now doing a primary in June, and then for us doing a primary, for the state people doing a primary in September. Right. And not only was it costing our Board of Elections a lot of money, but, people get kind of fatigued. You want them to come out, why am I doing this? And then I got to go back and do that, or they think they did this, so they don't have to do that. And it becomes extremely confusing. So it was expensive, and it was confusing, and it was creating a suppression on some levels of votes. In fact, I got a call from President Clinton, who thanked me, and Elizabeth Warren too. I was really surprised. Thanked me for doing this thing, because everybody understands that the core of our democracy is being able to allow people who actually can vote to vote, and we're not supposed to be making hurdles. So we combined it to meet, now my Republican colleagues across the aisle said that they were willing to do it when they were in charge, but they wanted to put it in August. And,
and that's ridiculous. Can you imagine a primary in the middle of August with the weather situations and who's in town and who's not in town?
No calls.
It seemed, so we were looking at, obviously we couldn't do it in September because that was the issue. So they're now in June, and so July and August aren't really so we made it the fourth week in June, and it's combined with the congressional. So at least now people, when they vote in the primary, they'll be voting in the primary for us, and then we have 6 months for the general.
Will that include, because last year, what you're describing, last year was Elliot Engel.
Right.
His was early. Now, will that be the same time
so
as
now
well?
It'll be the next time, 2 years, on 2020, right. It will be the same time that mine would be.
Right, because that was very confusing.
That's right.
People didn't know to go out to vote.
That's right. That's right. So now everybody will be at the same time.
So now what is the new...
And the county will
all elections, county and whatnot. And there's a couple of advantages to this. You have primaries. Democrats tend to have primaries more than the other side do. If there's a healing process, then we have all summer long to heal, to work it out, to be ready for the fall elections. It also shortens the primary process. You get people who run in primaries don't have the same resources. The shorter the election cycle, the more the person with less resources can compete. When you stretch out the primary, then the person with the greater resources has the greater advantage.
Right. It's going to be, and you got to start collecting signatures in February, right?
Right.
Cold
which
out there,
which is what's
well, we know standing on the corner.
Oh, he said it's going to be cold out there.
I know, but that's what's happening now with the congressional.
Right.
So that's what they're doing now anyway.
Right.
So rather than because you're even talking about the district leaders, and kudos to the district leaders, but the way they do, they had to go out in February, then they have to go back out again in July.
Right.
So at least, they have to be out there in February anyway, so they'll get everybody.
This is also going to change those people that collect signatures to actually use a walking sheet.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to knock on more doors
because you're not gonna be standing out there in February.
Just,
on the
that's
corner.
right. That's right. getting a bunch of signatures you can't use.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
They're gonna have to use a walking sheet. In this weather.
Yeah. You're just standing in the train station.
Yes.
And you're talking the end of February, and we're having a delayed winter because we haven't really been hit hard yet. Yeah. We could be hit hard in February and even March. So.
And
we're trying to sneak past the whole winter with our budget.
And what would be the deadline?
Well, as I said, when is the primary and when is the day they start with the signatures?
I believe it's the
4th is when it starts.
Yeah, for now.
This year. And usually they give you 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that.
4 to 6. It's 4 to 6.
And then they have a bunch of other deadlines for declination and all this other stuff. But basically, you'll know the lineup by the middle of April as to who's going to be on the ballot in June.
Right. And do we have a primary date yet?
It is. I'm thinking it's the 4th. The 4th Tuesday in June. Okay, so it's obviously it'll be different but it's the 4th Tuesday in June, and again we'll have early voting now, and that is going to be because just again this last primary was a classic example. It fell on September 11th. And and it was also the Jewish holiday of Rosh Hashanah.
Right.
And so both of those things really made people move it from Tuesday to Thursday. So we had a whole
which was confusing again.
Right, that was a whole nother education process. Not only did you have this, so now with early voting, those things
so
are.
So how long will it be? A couple of weeks? Or
it will be 10 days.
10 days.
So there'll be 2 weekends involved.
Malcolm Clark said it's June 25th.
June 25th this year. Okay. Yeah, I said it's always going to be the 4th Tuesday, whatever that is. And
well, since I have both of you here, I got to bounce back and forth. So I want to talk to you about this. You've completed your first year. I want you to talk about the first year, some of the things that you have done, and what can we expect in your vision for the county for the second year.
Well, I think in the first year we made a start in a number of different areas. We've had some successes, but we're trying to change the direction. And very similar to the task of the next president of the United States after the current one, you're going to try to turn this big ship that's out on the ocean, and you're going to have to put it in a 180-degree opposite direction. So, we're very proud that we passed a number of different progressive pieces of legislation. The Immigrant Protection Act passed. We banned the gun show at Westchester County Center. The aforementioned ban on conversion therapy, the salary history ban, which we think benefits people of color and women who are always underpaid for their job. And once they know what you pay the last job, then they can underpay you. We banned the box first by executive order, so that when you're applying for a job with Westchester County, no box that you have to check off saying you're resident. And then the legislature, to their credit, give credit in this case, and this is the story in Albany, the executive and the legislative branch working together, crediting when the legislature takes the initiative and when the executive takes the initiative. In this case now, anywhere in any employment application in Westchester County, no box. And we've seen a lot of businesses have already adopted that as a policy. So it's not a radical. I know our friends on the other side of the aisle say, "Oh, you're doing this anti-business stuff," but not accurate when the major corporations of your county are doing that. Right. So we did a number of things like that in terms of social justice. We got a long way to go, though. I'm not blowing a horn. We've opened up an important dialogue on issues of law enforcement, police, corrections, probation reform. We brought some new players into the game. We're very proud of our Deputy Commissioner of Corrections, Lou Molina. We think he's a good man to have inside the system. Sherilyn Pulver, who came into the corrections, to probation's department, we think is a good step. Terrence Rayner is the Deputy Commissioner of Police. We have an ongoing dialogue, and now we've got to get into the meat of what it is in policies that have to be adjusted and changed. We're working certainly on those things. We're trying to get over the backlog of capital projects. You drive out of here, you drive on county roads, bridges, and they look terrible. And there's holes and potholes and so forth. And we have an obligation to fix those things. That's the transition that I made going into this job, where we actually have responsibilities, and we got to do them, do right. We also closed off all of the open union contracts. We inherited a number of unions. On Election Day 2017, the day I was elected county executive over a year ago, you had 8 or so unions that were not operating under agreed upon contracts. And the biggest one was CSEA. 3,200 employees, 7 years without a contract. Now, if we had all the money in the world, which we don't, sounds like my father talking to me when I was a kid. Can't do that, George. We don't have the money. But bottom line is, we were able to close the contract, get retro in the hands of the employees before the holiday shopping season, which was important to them, and show some love by doing things that show that we respect the workforce of the county. But with all of those things, there's other things that we did. I credit Ben Boykin and the county legislature, and I also great credit to Ken Jenkins, our deputy county executive.
He's the best.
He and I competed, but we showed that competition does not have to be opposition. And now you got two for the price of one. And that's right.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
I even joked with Ken. I don't know if you've seen this movie Vice. That's like the story of Dick Cheney. And I said, well, George Bush was president, but Dick Cheney really ran the country. Ken's in the room. I look and I go, Ken Jenkins, deputy county.
That's my Cheney.
That's right. That's right.
But in all seriousness, and Ken is the highest-ranking African American that has ever been in a position of executive authority. The highest-ranking woman in executive authority is right behind him, Joan McDonald, the number 3, the director of operations. And if you come up on the 9th floor, you'll see people of all sorts of colors and shapes and ages and whatnot. It looks like Westchester. There may be an old fat white guy in the corner office, but diversity every place else, you know. And so I think that was part of what we promised in 17. And just like Andrea and the candidates that got elected in 18, we have an obligation. We've had a year, and Andrea's got less than a month, but we're trying to deliver on the things we said. It's not coming fast enough. Neither of us are happy enough yet, and we know that there are people waiting for this one or this 2 things to happen. But the elections do matter. And if you got change in 17 at the county level, and now you're getting change in 18, that's the rationale for what's coming in 19 and 20.
That's right.
Now, 19 is important. Can't forget 19. That's our midterm at the county level.
That's right.
We've got to hold on to some very good people. We have 9 women, a majority of women on that board of legislators. That's the first time that ever happens. We have 5 African Americans out of 17 on that board. We remember when there were no African Americans on the board. And now we have 5. And they're good people. They're good, you know. So long story short, that's 19, and then we're all focused on 20. And you know, AJ, if we do our job at our level, that helps the state and what they're doing, and they do a good job at their level, then the people who are out there working their butts off in 17 and 18, they'll have the reason to do it again for 19 and 20.
I had planned on asking you a question, but we had a government shutdown, and you know they did the thing Friday. But when I prepared my questions, we were still in the government shutdown, and I wanted you to explain how that is actually affected in the county and on the state level. Like, you know, we're hearing the government shutdown, but what the people did, you know, bringing it local, how it affected us locally?
Well, at the county level of government, there were 5 or 6 areas that were affected, and had this shutdown gone on further, you would have seen the greater effect in the county government immediately at the county airport. We were up there twice with the TSA workers who were doing the screening, and they were still holding strong. We bought them lunch, and we tried to give them love, which is not the same as giving them a paycheck.
Right.
But we were showing them, though, how much we appreciated. Hang in there, keep showing up, this thing will be resolved. But very soon, we were going to be dealing with the loss of air traffic controllers. Now, if you don't have people up there handling the skies above your airport's shutting down. And when you shut down an airport, now you have a major economic impact across the board. We were looking at the concerns we had for HUD and housing, because we have a number of different affordable housing proposals and projects that are funded. We have help from the state to fund those things, but we needed HUD to come on board. And if the shutdown had continued and it shut down HUD thoroughly, then everything would come to a stop. Now, you're looking for financing. Guys can walk away from financing, and projects would fall off the table. And so we knew that would be a very serious situation. And we were also worried about the other elements of transportation. You know, Amtrak owns the lines that our commuter rail runs on. And if they were shutting down, then are they shutting down maintenance? Are they shutting down switching? What does that do to getting people in and out of New York City? Fortunately, finally, you know, reality came to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and let's hope that reality stays in effect in the 3-week time frame. But we were going to be real world affected by it more and more with each passing day.
What were the effects on the state that you were?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of the same. You know, the state, the Fed pass through money to the states pass it to the counties. But so much of what the county executive was saying, he was talking about projects, but then you're talking about even Section 8 where landlords are expecting to get payments from these agencies that aren't functioning. So whether they can process your tax refunds, all of these things have an economic, whether it was SNAP, food stamps, and that once these agencies that are taking care of some of our most vulnerable, the children and so on and so forth, they're not processing anything, then things don't happen down there, and you look at a world of pain. And that's kind of what was unfolding and unraveling every single day, people's lives. So I am very happy that the government is open again, and hopefully we will. Like you said, reality. We hope reality has come to 1600 Pennsylvania, but I don't think anybody can afford to threaten people's lives and their well-being like this and call themselves a government. It's just wrong.
Now another equally important question. Usually you see when the Republicans are running certain things, Democrats say we can't get things through because of the Republicans or whatever. Now we have Democrat, we have your position, the governor. Basically it's all Democrat. Now there's not, that, well, we couldn't get it through because of the Republicans. So now y'all speak about that. Now y'all have to make some things happen now.
Well, that's why we're making things happen. The county executive just explained what he's done in his first year in addition to making sure that the workforce actually has a contract and is respected in all the day-to-day stuff. And as I said, I've been there. This will be my third week, and we'll be doing a criminal justice package. We're trying to do as much as we can. There are things again that have been waiting a long time to be acted on, and that's what you're seeing. That's why every day people are amazed at the speed that we are able to come through, and because these things have been pending. Now, obviously, there's going to be things that are going to take a lot more time. There are things that people have talked about out there, but because of our circumstance, these things have never come to us, to the Senate. I look at healthcare. It's a national conversation, and I just listened to Kamala Harris's announcement.
I missed it. I was preparing for the show. I missed it.
Yeah. And so she was talking about these things that everybody's talking about. College. The loan forgiveness program. She was talking about. Healthcare for all, and so on. So, these are national conversations that are important because people, we all want the same things. We want to have economic opportunity. We don't want to be taxed out of our homes. We want to have the protections and securities. You want health care. You want a good education for your kids. You want to be able to invest in a future, whether it's a technical education or college education, and know that you're not going to be paying for that loan, until you're in your senior years. This is the dream of America. So now, people are trying to figure out how do we get to this space that in this great country, people believe and should have these kinds of opportunities. So so everything's not going to happen tomorrow, but I think it's who's seated at the table.
I wonder, Dr. Bob. Okay.
Jay, let me just if I can touch on that too, because you're right about one thing now. The Democratic Party now has the majority in both levels of government, in both executive and legislative branches. The first thing I would say, which should be obvious to everybody, is that Democrats do not always agree with each other. We tend to fuss with each other from time to time, so nothing's ever automatic. And we've had some legislation at our level of government, like the co-op law, which was a subject of quite a lot of internal debate amongst people who were Democrats. The other thing is, and this is true from Barack Obama right on down, Democrats want to play nicely on the other side of the aisle. The Newt Gingriches of the world did not want to play nicely with us. They were in power. But, President Obama bent over backwards trying to get support for things he was doing. And I think at our level of government, we've had a decent relationship across the aisle with the Republican legislators. We listen to them. We meet with them. When we were briefing on the county budget, I went in and briefed the Republican conference before we made the public announcement, just like we did the Democrats. I don't think that was the case, in the past, because we are all in this together. But by the same token, I think we all understand. I mean, I'll just one quick anecdote. Andrea and I were county legislators together. Her first term, my third term, we were in the minority. There was 6 of us. Her and I, Clinton Young, Tom Abenanti, Lois Bronze, Richard Wishney. We had no power. And we talked about what we would do if ever this and if ever that. That's almost 25 years ago. Now, we each have a bit of power in our own respective areas. We've thought a long time about what we would do if this moment came. I saw her as the Senate Democratic leader planning these things, and so now it's no surprise to me that she's executing them one after the other. And for those who've known me, it should be no surprise to you that we're executing for the very reason you asked the question. People have expectations.
Right, that's where I was going with.
They have confidence, but they want to be proven that expectation was well placed. And we're both in our respective governments. We're committed to making people know that we delivered exactly what we said.
That's right. And I like to manage expectations too. You know, just and this is what we were talking about. There's lots of things that, like you said, where we need to figure out how we get those done. But what I do like about having Democrats in all of these various positions is that, unlike my colleagues, where on the Republican side, where there'll be maybe an ideological difference. I mean, the part about, say, minimum wage, they didn't want to raise the minimum wage. We wanted to raise the minimum wage. So when you've got to convince somebody that you need child care, no, I don't think you need no, people should just stay home and take care. So, I mean, so it depends on where you start the conversation. So the thing about starting it with most of my Democratic colleagues, we agree on what the issue is. It's just, how do we get there? How is it going to be something that this area can support and this region can support and this, as opposed to, no, we shouldn't do this, yes, we should. So the fight is different. There's still obviously the conversations and negotiations and the vetting and all of that, but it's not we're not at loggerheads because of philosophy.
Because I just want to say, because some people don't understand. I mean, Southern New York Democrats think a little different than Northern New York Democrats.
Right. That's exactly right.
And they have different values and they see things
and
differently
their issues are different.
because of where they live. So like a lot of people don't understand when you talk about that. When you live up north, the Democrats think different than the Democrats in New York City or Southern Westchester, and that's the compromise.
That's a reality. It's just like people. Like for me, we passed the tax cap, and the Assembly hasn't passed it yet. Very important out on Long Island and even places like Westchester, where the taxes are very, very high, and people are certainly concerned now that Trump has decided to target our state for not letting us take deductions and so on. So I had to send a signal to my colleagues all over, as well as out on the island and so forth, that I understand the sensitivity, to the tax situation in our respective counties and so on and so forth. Then I've got, I've got new senators. Some people say, oh, well, now you can get all the money from these places. And I say, well, you don't understand. The people who aren't there anymore have been replaced by my own Democrats. Now I've got Democrats who are in rural places, who are in farms. They have a different reality. So I said, I can't walk in there and say, oh, no, now you don't get any money because you didn't have it. It can't be like that. So that's why I said the education, understanding, the practicalities of governing and the respect for one another, even though we have different constituencies. But I said, at least we're not arguing about this. If people understand they need affordable housing, we have rent laws coming. I mean, this is going to matter to a lot of people. And I know I'm going to leave, but I'm going to brag a little bit too, because George was talking about the women in his cell. Let me just say that this last election, we have 15 new members, 15 brand new members, who are in many ways their first. I have the first Iranian senator. I have the first Chinese American senator. I've got the first Salvadoran senator, first 2 Colombian senators, first Muslim senator, the first South Asian senator. I've got 14 women out of 39 in the conference, and we have the biggest conference of either party that has been seen in, I think,
That's
over
great.
100 years.
That's
So
great. That's
we
great.
are, there's a lot of, and I said all of my other members who have stayed, they've been through the tough times. And so I said, everybody there has experienced and gone through a lot to stay there
Right.
or to be there. And so I don't believe there's ever been a more ready group of people to work on behalf of the people of New York at this critical time than what we have now in the
Thank you.
state.
Now, I know your time is limited. I wanted to give Bob, and if we have time, Lorraine, a chance to ask you a question before you leave.
So,
Sure.
welcome both Senator Stuart Cousins and County Executive Latimer. It's a pleasure to have you guys on set. It's fortuitous that we should mention the issue of taxes. As you know, going back to the New Deal, one of the real hallmarks of the Democratic Party has been its adoption and advocacy of a progressive tax policy. With the election of Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, this has once again been placed at the center of the policy agenda. Many scholars, especially leftist scholars like myself, would argue that one of the reasons that we find ourselves in this kind of fiscal challenge today is precisely because of the decision to abandon a progressive tax policy following the Reagan Revolution. Although I know what the politics of this are, since you guys have been thinking about this for some time, I want to know, where has adoption of a progressive tax policy figured in your internal discussions, and is this going to be taken up in seriousness again?
Okay, so because we're in this environment now, I think it is critical. One of the things that I did, which had not been done before, we have standing committees in the state environment, which, yes, we believe in climate change and all these different things, but I put together new committees too, and one of them is just about this. It's about revenues and budget, because I know we have to think a different way. I know we have to think a different way for a lot of reasons, in addition to how we fund our schools.
Right.
Because if you're just solely depending upon the homeowner and now again you're taking away their ability to deduct things, how are we going to do
Right.
this? So I created a committee, and I think Brian Benjamin out of Harlem, he's great. He's a finance guy. One of my new senators is John Luke, who used to be the controller, and Liz Kruger. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I got a serious group of people, and I've created a committee to deal with that, because I think it's important that we get back to where we need to be.
Lorraine.
At the county level, we have two major streams of taxation. We have property taxation and we have sales taxation. We can't levy an income tax. Yonkers City has an income tax, but the county itself does not. And so we've tried to find non-property tax revenues by things such as reducing our energy demand, by cutting a deal with Airbnb so they cough up some of the occupancy taxes they should have paid. But it's really on the margins. And I think when you look at it, if your universe is property and sales tax only, that's all we have to work with. The sales tax is less regressive than property taxes are, because if you're a senior citizen and you own a home, your income is not determined in how much you pay in taxes. It's the value of the house. If next door to you is somebody making a heck of a lot more money in income, you still could pay the same amount of taxes. Sales tax at least tracks that which you buy. If you buy a $40 lamp, you pay something on that. $80 lamp, you pay more taxes, but you bought the bigger lamp. Now you have already a discrepancy in this county. The four major cities, which is where the greater concentration of poor people are, Yonkers, Mount Vernon, White Plains, New Rochelle, have a higher sales tax than the rest of the county. So, in fact, people who live in Rye City, where I live, Larchmont, Armonk, Bronxville, Briarcliff, wealthier people, if they buy something in their local community, they're paying less in sales tax than somebody in my old neighborhood in Mount Vernon is paying if they go to a store on the south side. So, but for us to do something, we have to have a dialogue with the state. We're in dialogue. There's lots of factors to be involved in. I recognize, because both of us have served at both levels of government, and so things have to work at the Albany level as well as at the White Plains level. So we're in dialogue about that, and we'll see if we can exit with something that we can defend as a more fair way at our level of government for local taxation.
Lorraine?
This question is for the senator. Senator, the reproductive health bill that was just passed, and that's a very delicate subject. Can you explain to me so that I can explain to others?
Sure.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay, so New York passed its first reproductive health laws in 1970, where they said that a woman could have an abortion. Okay, so it was 1970. Roe v. Wade passed in 1973.
Okay.
So our laws, which said that only a woman's life would be the only reason, certainly in the later term period, only the woman's life would be considered important if you had a later term abortion, whereas Roe v. Wade said the life and the health. So many times, and I think we had a tragic thing that happened, that got a lot of attention just a couple of years ago, where a woman who was in a late term had to leave the state because her doctor, whoever she was working with, would have been, subject to arrest if, when her health began to go down, if he had performed that abortion, she had to go out of state. Things from, turned tragic in any case. But what we are saying is that the federal laws are newer than our laws in 1970. So we wanted to update our laws to mirror the federal government's laws. And by the way, those laws are under the homicide codes. They're in the criminal codes.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take them out of the criminal codes and put them into the health codes where we believe they belong. And so that was what we did. There's other things that happened because over the years, there have been physician's assistants. There's lots of different levels of people who
Nurses.
are quite professional, who are able to, within their scope of practice, take care of a lot of different things. And so we wanted to update the code. So again, within your scope of practice, depending upon what your situation is, you would not necessarily have to have, this person do this thing in the very, very early stages. You could, a physician's assistant, so on and so forth, are quite competent and it's within their scope of services. So what we wanted to do was to tell women that their choices matter. We understand that, what you do with your body, should be your right. And in the greatest country in the world, with the greatest health access in the world, whoever you are, it is legal to have an abortion. And I don't want to be sending a message that you have to have low-grade services, you should be marginalized, you can't even have in New York. And everyone said when we first started talking about taking these things out of the homicide code and updating them, oh, no, you don't have to worry about that because the abortion laws are settled on a federal level. This will never be challenged. And now you have a president, a vice president, a Supreme Court that is very clearly saying to women and a host of other people, get back, we don't want to hear what you say. We're not concerned about your health. We're not concerned about your future. And, if a woman cannot govern her own body, what are her prospects for being able to be that pillar of the community that really, takes care of the whole community, her economic, ability.
Exactly.
I mean, there's so many things tied on. So this is New York. We want to say that women's voices are heard here, they are valued here, and we are not sending anyone backwards or into back alleys.
I know that you have to go, and I wanted to thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And thank you for taking the time out.
Exactly.
And thank you for constantly supporting us, as well as the county exec. Y'all both took our ads in our first paper. And y'all weren't advertising anything. Y'all were just congratulating us.
That's
and then y'all both again took our ads in our 1 year anniversary paper.
Well,
and he wasn't running for anything. It was just took out a full page ad to congratulate us. And we appreciate that support.
Well,
on
thank
both levels.
you.
And I want to just say congratulations.
Thank you.
And I look forward to following you and what you're going to do and see what you're going to do, and you have a home here when you need to get the word out about something.
Appreciate that.
And please feel free. You call us. We'll bump somebody off.
Oh, no.
You got to come next week.
Senator, you'll be happy to, you'll be happy. Happy to know that after 14 years of the Republican, they're bringing me my voter registration tonight, and I'm going back to the Democratic Party.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we flipped them.
Thank you.
We flipped on the
Oh,
show.
my goodness. Thank you. You know, you got to go where your heart is, right? Yeah.
So
there comes a time where
I tried to tough it out. I couldn't.
Yeah, no,
I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for hosting. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
And even though you have to go, we got a young man here. He wants to get into radio. Okay. Mr. Latimer, we have a young man here. He wants to get into radio. He says his dad's a friend of Damon. And I wanted to give him an opportunity. He'll never have this opportunity again to ask you a question if he wants it.
I'm good.
So
by all means.
Introduce yourself again and
so
pull the
my
mic
name's
up close to you.
Daniel,
Pull the mic.
Daniel, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you put
pull
the
the mic up close to you.
Got you. I didn't really think about any questions that I needed to ask,
Who do I
so
like in the Super Bowl? I hate New England, but they're probably going to win.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
This you want to get in radio, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. So what Super Bowl, let's talk about that. Sure, fine. So how did you feel about the AFC champion and AFC and NFC championship games?
Well, I thought that the Saints were robbed. That play late in the game where the receiver got hit with that helmet hit, that was a penalty, and the Saints would have had the ball. They would have won the game. So unfortunately, I have no horse in that race between the Rams and the Saints. But I think the Saints was robbed. But a lot of other people thought the same thing. I'm a Jet fan. 50 years has been since the Jets have been in the Super Bowl, and New England has been in 9 Super Bowls in 20 years. I'm a little tired of seeing.
There's actually a statistic that it says Tom Brady is more likely to make it to the AFC Championship game than Russell Westbrook is then the probability that Russell Westbrook has in making a single shot.
Yeah.
It's like over 76%.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has more. Yeah.
I can credit somebody that I don't like. And in this particular case, I can credit New England for having an amazing ability to restock that team. When they lose a star, they get another player in.
Do you think it's a system thing, or do you think it's a system thing?
They obviously have very good scouting, and they also know that when they like with Revis, Darrelle Revis, who was the cornerback for the Jets for many years. He was outstanding, but he was unable to get to the Super Bowl as a Jet. So he makes the flip over to the Patriots, and he gets himself a Super Bowl ring. And so players are attracted to go for a team that they feel's got a chance to give them that chance at the championship. But Brady's been a constant. I don't particularly care for Belichick, and I don't know if he's a genius or not. I tend to think that he's got a certain system. And Kraft is good with the money, and that keeps him competitive every year. I think there's a little overrating of Belichick, but he's got 5 Super Bowl rings, so I got none. So I got
There's nothing you can really say
about
that. Yeah. I went to the University of Alabama, and Nick Saban is the head coach, and I could say that ship is run quite like the Patriots in a sense where it's very it's top down as opposed to.
Here's the thing in college football: the recruitment process in college football is the ball game. You send an Urban Meyer or a Nick Saban out there, somebody who's established, one of the Harbaughs, and they go see a great high school player in one of the teams, Texas or Alabama or what do you say, and they're impressed that they're coming out to recruit you. That's a completely different thing than at the professional level, where these guys are being picked out of a different pool of talent. But there is a reason why certain franchises are competitive every year and some are not. In football, I've seen teams go from worst to first frequently.
Yeah.
And then drop back as well. Sometimes
the Giants.
It's the scheduling. Yeah, But
I'm a diehard Giants fan.
But I ain't crying for you, Argentina. 4 Super Bowls. You've been in another one. I'm going 50 years. I'm not going to live another 50 years. So I've already buzzed off 50 years of waiting for the Jets to get back there a second time.
They keep finding new ways to lose.
Both
teams.
We keep restarting it. We had the Todd Bowles years. He's coming in, new team. We're restocking. Was this a sports program that I got onto? Exactly. I'm ready to go. Now we're going to start all over again with some other guy. I hope he's good. I don't know. You know.
Bob, do you have any other questions for the county executive? Yeah.
Well, to continue to...
I just wanted to say, and I wanted to give you an opportunity, you know, because that's what it's all about, you know.
We're trying to bring a next generation up, young people that want to get into media and learn about media and learn what it's like, especially independent media, with the age of social media and just having a computer, you could reach thousands of people. So we hope, you know, this experience will help this young man move forward and take what he experienced here, take it back to school, and if he needs to come here as an intern and learn how to work the boards or whatever, so he's welcome. You know, and this is what we try to do with the show also, is empower young people to have a voice.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Having a great time
So
here.
are you going to come back?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'll be back.
Well, we'll be looking forward to more contact from you because AJ and Damon have determined
Gotta have a dance partner. You gotta have somebody that you can feel comfortable with, and that when you go in there and you say, look, we're gonna allocate a certain amount of money, and we'll allocate more money than we expect you to match, because we're not about one for one. We know Mount Vernon's in need, but and then you got to be straight up with us. If something isn't right, you got to tell us. You can't start accusing us of stuff and going there, because I'm a nice guy. I live in Rye and all that stuff, but up in Mount Vernon, I once
you know how to do it.
And the rule is called back at you. And I'm not going to sit there and let some guy play games. So let's just be good. Let's just be fair. Let's just work to make that community as well as the other communities. You're seeing money being invested in Yonkers. You're seeing money going into Portchester. Money's going everywhere. Money should be going into Mount Vernon.
Exactly. Now, since you brought it up, we didn't bring it up. Where are we at right now with the Memorial Field project?
Real quick, so I just want to sound check. Can everybody hear? We were having a hearing problem.
No, they said there it is.
And just so everybody knows, whatever you missed, it was recorded, and it will be posted on Black Westchester later tonight. So you can get any part that you just missed. You can watch it later on tonight.
Okay. So Damon, the county government now has the authority to move forward on the work that has to be done there. Both the city and the county have made all the necessary approvals. We are waiting for the state DEC to make some final decision about a mound of dirt that was dumped, and it's the state is going to basically tell us what the deal is. And when they tell us what the deal is, we're going to go along with the deal. We're not going to fight about it.
Right.
But now comes time for us to start working on the plans, how the field is going to be laid out, what kind of stands are we going to have, and all of those decisions, as far as I am concerned, come through the people of the city of Mount Vernon. The city council has the opportunity to hold public forums and hearings, listen to what folks say, come to the table with your vision. We don't have a county vision as such. We're not coming and saying, here's what we want it to look like. Right. This is our job is to do it. Our job is to get the professionals, let the contracts, make sure we have professional design people who can actually accomplish it. Because at the end of the day, when this thing is done, the field is going to be owned by the city of Mount Vernon, not by the county.
Can you repeat that, please? Look right into the.
I just want by the city of Mount Vernon. There's a lot, and I wanted to get.
Yes, we appreciate it.
There is still a lot of things being said.
Yeah.
The county is taking it from us. The county is going to charge us to get in, and they're going to make money off of us, and all it is. So I wanted them to hear it from the county executive. If you say it one more time, just for the cheap seats.
I swear on my past experience as a student at Grimes Elementary, Washington Junior High School, and I went to Robert Fulton, which ain't Robert Fulton anymore either. Right. I played ball at Brush Park. I hung out in all the places to hang out. I remember places that don't exist anymore. When there was a North Side Boys Club up on North 10th Avenue, all kinds of stuff. The bottom line. The county has no interest in owning Memorial Field or running Memorial Field. We're in there to get it done. Why do we care so much? Because we already did this in almost every other community in Westchester County. You go down to City Park in New Rochelle, there's a field down there that the county did with the city of New Rochelle. It's done. It's been played on for 8 years. There's a field in the south end of Portchester, which my Latino brothers are playing soccer on for 10 years because the county did this for Portchester. We did it for Rye Brook and Valhalla. And Mount Vernon is the last one of these deals. So there's no difference. It's the same deal, which is we got involved to help grow the amount of recreation in the county. That was our public policy. And by the way, it wasn't my idea. It's a vision of Andy Spano. Credit him. He's still around. If you see him, say, Andy, thank you. That was a wonderful idea. And he cut that deal back with Clinton Young. Clinton Young was mayor. And so the bottom line is the county has no interest in taking over Memorial Field. I'll tell you what I do have an interest in. I don't know if it can happen time-wise. I want to sit in the stands on the day that the Mount Vernon High School class of 2020 graduates. I want to see them graduate at Memorial Field because that'll be 50 years from my high school graduating class of 1970. And I just want to sit down. I'm not going to give no speech. I just want to sit down and look, because that will be me paying my debt to my home community to make that feel better. And if we can do that, then we're good. That's it. We're good. You know, Bob, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
We're happy.
Lateef, would you like to get in the camera?
I just want to thank you.
Well, get in the camera because we can't see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a
I'm
handsome
busy
guy.
trying
Man.
to be the cameraman.
We got more handsome people in
But
the
thank you so much so for your comments about Memorial Field and getting it done. I appreciate that. But my question is to you, because a lot of Mount Vernon's
Reach into the mic, pull the mic.
I've spoken to the people in Mount Vernon, and a lot of them are confused as to who they should vote for in the next coming election. Considering that they voted for Thomas in 20, thinking that he was the new change and he was going to bring hope, and a lot of things has happened. So what should they look for in their new mayor coming in for 2020? What should they expect? Quality-wise.
I think the key thing is to look at the candidates and see through, because I've run for office 19 times, and I understand what the game is and how you project.
Yeah, you're undefeated, though.
Well, yeah, but that's I remember when New England was undefeated up until the Super Bowl.
But what should they?
And they lost to the Giants. Okay.
For Mount Vernon to be well run, you need a person who can certainly project to the community, a person who has the ability to speak to people in the community, speak to the young people in the community, deal with the issues of violence that must be addressed, deal with the issue of making people see their economic future as having a possibility, and that it could be raised up. So you have to speak aspirationally to what people want. But separate and distinct from that, the person has to have a hard-headed reality, because you're going to have to go to outside interests with resources and get investment into the city.
Exactly.
The money to save Mount Vernon is not in Mount Vernon right now. It's coming from outside. And if you've got the talent, if you're running, if that's what you're telling me by asking me the question, if you're
can he get an endorsement?
But a person running for mayor has to be able to articulate how they intend to tap into that opportunity. And what I can tell you for the under 3 years that I have, the mayor of Mount Vernon, whoever that person is, if they come to us with a workable plan, they're going to get open arms. They're going to get reception. But if they come to us talking pie in the sky and stuff that can't be realistic, then you're just going to extend the misery for another 4 years. You don't need that. You need you need right now to just like I was joking before about the Jets. You need to have a real plan to turn that football team around, not a fantasy plan. And that's what I think. And look, I believe in the people of Mount Vernon. I think that they're smart enough to be able to discern it, but they have to be willing to look at candidates, go like they have a forum. You got to go to the forum. You got to go and sit and listen. You got to ask a question. You got to ask a tough question. You got to see how the different people respond. And then when you get a sense of who the people are, I'm sure that will lead you to whatever you think is the right choice. I'm not in it to endorse anybody or disendorse anybody, but I know that Mount Vernon needs superior leadership, because right now you got a bad hand of cards. You know, right now you got a bad hand of cards. No, I'm serious. You don't have a river. If you had a river in Mount Vernon, you have something to work with. You don't have the Long Island Sound there, which would be a nice thing to have.
I heard we got a beach.
Oh yeah, the
we got a beach coming.
The beach.
We got a beach coming.
I must have missed it.
And wait, not
Lorraine, where's the beach?
Not
It's
just,
in Mount Vernon.
Where Mount Vernon?
wait, not just the beach.
Kingsbridge Road?
Isn't it
No,
behind
it's
the
over
tennis court or
Columbus Avenue?
something?
Where is it?
But not only just the beach, a dock where the ferry is going to take people from Mount Vernon
down
to
at
the
Eastchester
airport.
Creek, like
Yeah.
Salvation Army still down there at the foot of 3rd Avenue and whatnot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's where the beach.
Yeah, we going to have a ferry.
Look, I'm a man of faith. I believe in the Almighty. The Almighty can do miracles. So I'm hopeful. Now, all kidding aside, I love the city, and I just want to be able to, that we could work together, and we could just help the city and go forward. That's what I want to do. You never know how much time you have left on the planet, much less. You have so many months in office. I got 3 more years to do it. Before I leave office, I'd love to be able to shake hands and have a deal cut that shows the future of Mount Vernon going in a positive direction. New Rochelle is doing this, that, and the other thing. White Plains is gangbusters. Port Chester's coming back. I want Mount Vernon to come back.
Thank you.
I want Mount Vernon to come back.
I like that.
You got to quote. We're going to make it going to the last ones. Good.
So, County Executive Latimer, we're very encouraged on the show to hear that the county wants to be a good partner in our redevelopment. And however, as your comments have alluded to, it seems as if we have a deeply entrenched problem with governance, if not corruption through outside influences. myself, Brother Damon, AJ, and so many others here in studio and outside of the studio have struggled mightily to use the democratic process to try to influence our current sitting mayor to adopt more constructive policies that are in the interest of the city, and to cease and desist from a lot of questionable activity and relationships that he struck over the past several years. But right now, to be honest, we feel almost powerless. I'm not going to say powerless because we're not going to give up, but we feel, you know, that we're fighting an uphill battle. And I'm curious to know, since this kind of municipal corruption is not unique to Mount Vernon, but seems to be occurring all across the state, and that's not your province, but is there anything at the county level that can be done to tighten up the rule of law, to make sure many of the problems that we're experiencing in Mount Vernon today do not reoccur?
Or any other community.
Yeah. Or any other in Westchester.
A couple of things apply. First of all, this is the odd numbered year. 2019 is an election year, and you will be electing the mayor again and the 3 members, I guess, of the city council. So the opportunity reappears. It is in front of you again. And by the way, it's an early, as you said with Andrea, the early voting. You now have an earlier process. Petitioning will begin in about a month from today, I think, a month from yesterday. And so candidates who will be competing for mayor are going to be out there. And if we were on if we're on the front end of something like Trump just got elected, and now we got to wait 4 years or 3.5 years, it's a long wait. But your opportunity to impact the politics of your city is right there, right now. That's number one. Number two, the county doesn't have any direct authority over supervising what a municipality does or doesn't do. We partner arbitrarily with communities and share resources when we think we've got a deal to do something with a dance partner. We can agree to come into community A or B and put infrastructure in. That's what Memorial Field basically is. Or we can come in and add services. We could open up an office of something of the county in that area. We own, for example, 100 East First Street, 9 South First Avenue, the old Con Ed building. That's a county-owned building. We did that as an investment to the downtown office market for Mount Vernon, because I don't know that there was a private sector market for that building if the county didn't buy it back in the day. So there are things like that we can do, and that's what we're willing to do going forward, depending on, as I said before, you know, what the direction of the community government is. Now, Mount Vernon has a unique structure. You're the only community in the county that's got 3 separate elected sources of power: a city council and a mayor and a city controller. No other community has that.
Really?
In Yonkers, you have a mayor and a council that are separate, but the controller function is not a separate function. So that gives you an added requirement to get all 3 things aligned when you want to have a public policy situation. And, you know, at some point in time, you ought to discuss whether that makes sense for the long term or not. Since nobody else has that structure in the city. Now, at the state, you have that: state controller, governor, and elected legislature. But those changes have to come from within it. The state, however, and the governor particularly, it's a very powerful governorship in New York State. Do you know, if the governor wanted to, he could remove me from public office. If he thought that I had done something that warranted it, he has the authority and the power to do it. Now, I can sue him, and we go to court over it, and he may lose in court were that to happen. But you know, the governor's power is not to be messed with in this state. And certainly, if the governor called me up and said, "George, I want you to come up to Albany, I'm going to talk to you," I would be on the next Amtrak train heading north, because that kind of power exists. And there is supervisory responsibility for the finances of every one of these municipal governments through the state controller's office. They issue audits, and they can give directions. And at some point in time, if they're angry enough, they can cut off state aid. They can hold that over your head. The courts threaten you that too. If you don't fix this court, by such and such, I'm going to cut off state aid. So there's power there. The question is, if you can't resolve it, if you can't resolve what you want in 2019 at the ballot box, and then problems continue, then those are avenues that you would look at. And by the way, there are people out there who may not be too crazy about, you know, me doing the things I'm doing, and they look at the same tools, and if they think they've got a case, then they try to make it. But the thing is this, is that you've got to be able to articulate in detail a plan. You've got, this is me now talking, you've got at Mount Vernon East a train station right outside of New York City. You get in New York City like that. I lived my last place I lived in Mount Vernon was one block away at 131 East Prospect Avenue. That was the best apartment building to live in to commute into New York City. And then you had the other left rack ones, Quincy, 11 Park Avenue, and the Lenox 40. I remember all these in West Sydney, East Sydney Avenue. And there's development going on at Fleetwood by the Fleetwood train station. There is no reason why there shouldn't be major development in and around Mount Vernon East train station that could start the energy. You've got that big empty parking lot where the old train station used to be. That's developable land right next to the MTA. Right. You know, I assume there's been efforts made to try to discuss those things. But if I'm not knowing if they haven't or haven't, I'd be on the phone to the MTA and I'd be saying, this land here, this land there, what can we do? What plans do you have? Harrison has some plans to develop housing right by the train station in Harrison. And they have less land to work with. They are. But maybe something is coming to Mount Vernon. You know, it's another thing.
I have a question piggybacking off what you just said.
Yeah.
And maybe not as the county executive, but as a former Mount Vernon resident, how concerned are you with these reports of the city may be going bankrupt? I mean, I want to know.
And I want you to explain. I want you to explain to the listeners. You know, as a county exec, the credit rating. What does that mean to a municipality or a government? Having your credit rating downgraded or your credit rating taken away. How does that affect the functioning of government?
Well, it does two things. When you downgrade it, it means that it's going to cost you more money in interest to borrow money for whatever purpose you're borrowing money for. You're not going to do any major, you're not going to do any major capital projects anywhere unless you borrow for it. No government has got the kind of resources, cash on hand, to do a multi-million-dollar repair of some major facility within a community. So you borrow for it, and when you borrow, the lower your credit rating, just like a human being. Right. If you have bad credit, you pay more, a higher percentage. Right. And at some point, if your credit is so bad, you can't get the money to borrow at all. The banks don't give you the money. Now, just to give you the example, of Westchester County, we've traditionally had a AAA bond rating, which is the highest rating you could have. We were just downgraded to AA1, which is still higher than most other governments. And we're freaking out over it. We're like, we got to do this, that, and the other thing to get back the AAA bond rating. It's a matter of status, and it's a matter of saving some money on what we borrow, because we borrow money for all kinds of capital projects. If you reach the point where your bonds are not rateable, that means no one is going to buy them. You have lost the ability for credit. In human terms, go into your wallet and take out all the credit cards and chop them up. And now the only thing that you can spend money on is what's in your checkbook or what cash is in your pocket.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, right now I have to go to the cash. I got no money on me. I want to stop and get a soda. If I don't have credit, I can't go in and use it.
Yeah,
if I got no credit, I'm dead.
Because I ain't got no money.
No. Well, I'm not asking for money.
I know. Me neither. Bob had to buy my soda.
But that's why the credit rating is very important. And then you go back to what I said before. If you want to have growth and development, you have a defined downtown. If you can attract the right kind of developers to come in and look at the opportunities and the possibilities for housing. Now, retail's a funny thing now because everybody's buying stuff online. What used to be, we got to bring in retail, is much harder to do now than it was before because it's a big capital investment to build stores, and the return on investment is difficult. But whatever developments are out there, the developers will look and say, you don't have a functioning credit rating, so how are you going to pay for the infrastructure stuff? I'm going to come in and build a building. Right. You're going to extend a sewer pipe. Right. You're the city. You're going to do the curb cuts. Right? And if you can't do the curb cuts and put in the traffic light, then I'm not coming in to do this construction. I'll look for another community and put the construction in that community. Right. And I'll go look by a train station someplace else, because that's the big thing now, is the next train station, if you don't have a river or you're not on the Sound. So that's the impact of the bond rating as a deterrent or as an incentive for business to come in. Wow. And then of course the other element of it is and this is what the president's dealing with now. When you handshake on a deal, now I'm 65 years old. I grew up in a world when if a person extended their hand and shook their hand, they meant it, and that was it. That's a bond. That's a commitment now. And I've had a couple I made, and I go, oh man, what was I thinking? But you have responsibility to honor that commitment. You've got to show that you will back up those commitments, because when people start to believe that your word is not good, then they won't deal with you at all.
Word is bond.
Deal with
Word
you
is
at all.
bond.
Word is bond.
That's what we say. Word is bond, and bond is life. I shall give my life before my word shall fail me. There's a lot of broken promises. All right.
And I'm about to lose my life if I don't leave here.
Oh, okay.
I was just going to say any last
You
words.
made a promise.
There's a woman that has no problem.
Well,
we understand.
Well, we want to thank you for coming and taking
As
the
always.
time
AJ, it's a
and the
pleasure.
support. Any last words for the county, for us, for anybody?
Just congratulations. 200 shows is an amazing accomplishment of doing something and then doing it again. Most people get tired and they can't do it. There's reasons not to do it. You get credit for having stick-to-itiveness and decisiveness, and this serves a purpose. And I'll tell you what, speaking as a white guy who's involved in politics, you constantly hear this stuff. Did you see Black Westchester? No, I missed it. Oh, that thing was in there. You should catch it. There's buzz about what you're doing after you have done it.
Yay.
So we start, hey, can you get me a copy of it? I got to see what he said. Oh, no, it was on the TV show on Facebook. And we'll go, let's go check it out. That's a sign of breaking through when people are talking about whatever it was you were talking about on Sunday night. So congratulations all around the table.
Thank you.
Look,
And thank you for your continued support.
You did it. You did it.
I filled it out, folks.
Yeah, but like
Hold
I
that up
said a
again,
few minutes
Lorraine.
ago,
Now
she's a Democrat, but she's an independent person.
Right.
Man, just welcome to the tussle.
Hold it up again. You wasn't on the screen. Hold it up. It's an official. To switch back to the Democratic Party. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your continued support.
A pleasure.
Okay.
Absolutely. Good to be with you.
Cynthia Turnquest Jones, can you enter the room, please? We have another one of our co-hosts. Lorraine, if you want to take a picture or something, get Shane to take it for you. Next to Bob. Next to Bob.
What it do?
Hey, what's up?
So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We want to thank everybody. Yeah, can you get pictures of anybody you can get pictures of? We want to thank everybody for, we want to thank our guests, the Senate, and I'm never going to get tired of saying it, the Senate Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart. Like I can officially say it. I was calling her that before, but now it's official.
Mister?
Yeah. And,
yeah, man.
And County Executive George Latimer for taking the time to come here to celebrate with us for our 200th episode, for breaking down some important information on the state and the county level. And I'm glad that we got to see both of them together, because again, they served together on the state senate together,
right?
And they served together on the county legislature together. You know what I'm saying? Like
I hadn't realized that.
Yeah, so it's good to see that we have a relationship on the state and the county that will be conducive to all of us. So I want to thank all of them. I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in. I haven't got a chance to get to all your comments. I'm sorry, Mayor Rainey, I did not know that you was calling, and I denied your call 5 times because I wasn't taking calls. But she texted me, so shout out to him. I want to introduce, well, she needs no introduction, Cynthia Turnquest Jones.
What's up, good people?
One of the first, the first
co-host
of the show. Welcome to the
show. Welcome. What's up? Congratulations, people before politics.
You was here in August. You was here. I don't know if it was show 1, but you was here for 2 or 3. You was here from the beginning. You was here show 1, I think, right? Were you here for
No. I wasn't here for show 1. I was in Belize or the Bahamas, and then I told y'all when I come back, I'm gonna come to the show.
So you was here from the 2nd or 3rd show.
Yeah.
Did you see back then? Did you imagine that we would be here celebrating a 200th episode?
You could see that was gonna happen.
So what were some of your memories? Maybe favorite interviews?
One of my favorites was when we had Yusef Salam in the house from Central Park 5.
I showed a piece of that.
Yeah, you showed a piece of that?
Yeah, I showed a piece of that.
Yeah, when Yusef was talking about...
we showed a piece of his mother talking. He was here.
Yeah, when Yusef was here, Yusef had spoken about how the person that drew the pictures in the courtroom apologized to him when they were found not guilty, and said that she, on purpose, drew the picture the specific way to make them look guilty.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, that same individual also wrote a book about that. I guess, want to become as one with the black baby Jesus. I don't know if it's going to work for her. But anyway, so.
See, look, they about to start already.
I got black Jesus in my car.
They about to start already. They ain't even here for 2 minutes.
So
yet.
yeah, I like that. I like that interview. Let me see what's another interview that played on my heart. There were so many. They were so enlightening, Yes. There was a brother that you brought in here, AJ, that used to be a correction officer.
He wrote a book called Corruption Officer.
Corruption Officer.
Gary Haywood.
He was a corrupt.
Gary Haywood.
Yeah,
that's the thing's name. Gary Haywood. Yes.
Yeah, him, Talon Murph. You had Frank Shaw Francois was in the house. Who else was in the house?
Sugar Ray.
Sugar Ray. You had anybody from Corey.
Yeah.
Corey Pregay. Corey was here. You had some really heavy hitters in the house, man.
Minister Hafiz has been here several
Minister
times.
Hafiz, when Minister Hafiz, I want y'all to know when Minister Hafiz come, me and Damon, we put on the pretty clothes.
Well, I did that for I did that for the Senate Majority Leader today. I did that.
We get dressed up,
Yeah,
put the bow tie on, get all clean and everything. Because when Hafiz is in the house, he just have this thing.
He breaks it down.
There's just something about him, man.
Yes, yes.
And then when he invited us to the mosque
and
say
shouted
thank
us
you.
out.
Yep, and shouted us out at the mosque. He said he
Yeah.
wanted to say thank you to Black Westchester for being courageous to report things that individuals don't report.
That was huge when he was, and during right after the sermon part or whatever, and he had us stand up and he pointed us out, and that was just huge. And then took time to meet with us after this.
Yep.
He made time for us afterwards.
Sat down with us.
And sat down in his office.
Yep.
That was huge. That was really huge.
That's when like when the height of fighting for individuals to stop murdering our black boys, that's when Damon and I reunited. And it wasn't through Hafiz, but Damon was talking to Hafiz, of course. I was talking to Hafiz on another end, and then Hafiz came to Mount Vernon and had a big remember that?
Yeah, at the church.
No, it wasn't at the church. It was at the Dole Center. And so I was slated to get on the mic. I didn't know Damon was slated to get on the mic, and I didn't know what's the judge husband name?
Brother Muhammad.
Arthur Muhammad.
Shout
All
out to
three
him.
of us. Shout out to Brother Muhammad. All three of us were slated to get on the mic, and the interesting thing about that is that what individuals don't know is that I went to college with Damon, and I went to college with Brother Muhammad. Understand what I'm saying? And so, we was in the classroom ripping it up, right, Damon? And so it's through that, like we didn't know that when we were in college that we were preparing ourselves to do this type of work. We didn't know that. We were just loudmouth children in the classroom.
And now it says, and I thank you all. Before you say, but I just gotta say one thing. So my memory, and seeing you with that coat right now, my favorite memory, and this happened every week. So Damien would turn on the air, and it would be freezing in here, and Sid would be putting on her fur coat, and they would be going back and forth over the temperature. And that this was like a big production. Like, you go look at the first 20, 30, look at the first 40 shows or something. Like, you see, it was a matter of fact with Tyler Murph said, "Yo, I'm coming." Murph, he said, "I ain't coming back no more to the spring or the summer. I ain't coming up here no more." But that was like a weekly thing. He would turn it on. You would be freezing. You put your coat on. We go back and forth, and that was like a weekly occurrence.
Yeah, man, it's a joint.
We also have Brenda L. Crump in the house.
Brenda Crump.
You don't see her much on the camera, but every time we're here, she puts the notes in. She holds us down. She's doing a lot of things behind the scene. She go to all the press conferences and Facebook Live, and she be putting that camera in front of people's face. Yo, you gonna answer this question?
Get threatened, get put out, don't get let in.
We was trying not to. I knew that was gonna happen.
People don't let you in now.
Don't let me in.
People can't get on elevators no more.
Oh man!
All you gotta say is Black Westchester. You get the X.
Word. But he said he'd meet with you anytime, though.
Yeah, whatever, man.
I said, how you gonna do that when you just peeled out the parking lot?
But you know, I must say that people say they have challenges with reaching him, but anytime that I have texted him, he has responded.
9 out of 10 times, believe it or not, 9 out of 10 times, I text him. He'll give me.
The mayor of Mount Vernon, Mayor Richard Thomas. I can say in his defense, as far as with me, anytime that I have texted him, he has responded. So when other people say that he doesn't respond to them, that may very well be so.
He responded right away when I told him why.
He does respond.
He responded right away when I said, "Why are you throwing my people out of your meeting?" He responded right away. He was like, "What you talking about?" He responded.
I didn't send him a text when they had me held captive in the hallway and was asking me why was I even in the building. So I didn't send him a text. Maybe I should have sent him a text saying I'm out in the hallway. Will you please tell them to let me in? I don't know.
He normally replies to my text messages.
What would be some of your favorite moment, a memory, interview of the show?
When we had Jordan Runcie Hubbard on, the young man with the commercials from Mount Vernon. And when we had the children, the cast from The Lion King.
Lion King Jr.
That was like really awesome because the children were singing in here live. And the what's the system that shuts you down if it's for the copyright? Facebook, because it was powerful in here. They sang
the song
great.
So good, Sin.
They thought it was
acapella,
the recording of
that
something.
That Facebook
shut it down.
Yeah, like if we were playing
down.
the record and they shut the Facebook Live down on us.
It was
Cause
great because it was at the end of the show.
Yeah.
It was at the end of the show, so that's one of my favorites. That was like really awesome because anytime anything that's dealing with the children and the young people, that's where my heart is and my passion. And also when we did the senator the debate when we hosted. I think that might have been our first debate. It was the first one that we hosted.
The one for Ruth Hassel Thompson's seat.
Right.
Yes, that was the first actual debate on the.
Right. That was the first actual debate.
And I'm gonna be honest. I was awesome. Making that up as I went along because I did not know what I was doing.
Yeah,
and
but
then we did
that was my favorite.
The Rain Helper set up the county legislative seat for Ken Jenkins. That the debate for that. All the candidates running for that were here, and she helped set that up.
But the other one was our first. So
and then then we had the library trustee debate. We had.
I think you also did Mount Vernon School Board.
Yeah, we had the Mount Vernon School Board one. Yeah.
So that's.
And we've had other. We've had candidates that have challenged their opponents who would not come on the show and accept it. Several of them challenged them to a debate on the air, but they did not accept.
And we also did the judge when Nichelle Johnson and Tamika Coverdale was running.
Well, I don't think we did.
We didn't do a debate, but they came on.
Both came
separately.
They came on separately. We had to give them separate time because they couldn't do it.
Correct.
Debate.
But we did that.
Yeah.
So that was a couple of my favorites.
Bob, do you still think of your favorite yet?
There's been so many.
No, well, I was gonna say so I had to tell y'all this because I saw the young man. I guess runs Jordan.
Yes.
So, and I saw him recently, and I was like,
his face looked familiar.
Yeah, and then he was with apparently his brother. I wasn't sure if they were tricking me because
probably his brother that I'm trying to get on the show.
And then it was like, well,
his brother's written some books.
On the show, and I could have sworn the brother was there, had a bigger afro, but I recognized the two of them together side by side, so it was memorable. I just couldn't figure out who was who, and they was like, nah, it was him.
Oh, they was tricking you? All right.
I still don't know. I still don't know about tricked or what.
Well, he has a twin.
Oh, he has
a twin. The one that was on here, he has a. Well, I don't know if they're twins, but they look alike.
No, they're not twins.
They look alike. They're brothers, but they look alike.
That was the confusion. So yeah, that was a memory at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damon, did you share your memory, favorite episode, favorite interview?
They're all my favorite, man.
Yo, you know.
I mean, like I enjoy every show. I enjoy every conversation. But as always, black law enforcement is always dear to my heart and something that's in my blood. So I think those shows.
And the special one we did like on a Tuesday.
Right. Those shows where we are able to bring different voices of black law enforcement on the show. The special show that we did when the documentary team from France came and we had a special show here with different voices of black law enforcement. I really think those shows are good because we have to show
the dissenting voices in law enforcement that are actually for freedom, justice, and equality. I mean, really, to be honest with you, People Before Politics was started as a podcast.
I remember that.
Blog Talk.
Yeah,
I used to have you calling from Atlanta.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cynthia remembers that. And it almost turned into like black law enforcement radio because we had black law enforcement from all parts of the country that would call in on Sunday morning and talk about issues. And I think I posted one of the old shows where we discussed Jeffrey Donor, the manifesto, the LAPD officer that LAPD turned on him because he reported one of his supervisors for police brutality, and they didn't understand that they were dealing with like a super soldier, and he went into soldier mode and he defended himself against the whole LAPD, which they ended up, which I believe the house that he was, the standoff, I believe they blew it up with a drone.
Blew up the house? Oh.
Yeah, because the house caught on fire, and he died inside the house.
I remember that.
And
that was in Cali?
Yeah, that was in California. And what was very interesting, they interviewed, because they tried to make him crazy, and they tried to make him, insane. And one thing about his manifesto, it was the truth. I mean, if black officers were honest, they would say they experienced the same thing that Jeffrey Donor experienced in LAPD that goes on in damn near every police department in America. But one thing, it was a witness that said he was polite because he commandeered their car, and the witness said he was polite. He didn't look crazy. He looked like a man on a mission. So, I mean, we discussed that. We discussed the stresses of being a black officer within a racial department, a department that's DNA is built on white supremacy. And that was one of the first shows, and that started the catalyst of People Before Politics and what what the call was about. And then when AJ came back up to New York, and he would call in from Atlanta, and when he came back to New York, we started Black Westchester, and then when we came here as a guest on the next show, we decided to make it. So I think, to watch over the years the radio show progress to something that has been a catalyst for the community to get information, for people to have a voice when they feel that they have no voice, and they call to come on the show, and we welcome everybody with open arms, and we don't ask any money up front. We don't ask the guests to give us any type of financial
we try to keep the show and the website and the paper free.
Right. We keep
don't
it
have
all.
A paywall on the website.
I mean, we keep it. We keep it all from within self, and I think, that's a sacrifice we have made to inform the public. Because the public needs to be informed. And to have the county exec and to have Senator Cousins to come on this anniversary show is really, it really humbles you.
Absolutely.
And there's other things that happens, from the show, which I'm not going to get into right now. But, it's just the fact that, we're doing a service for a community, and we're doing it from our heart, and, and I think we're going to continue to do it, no matter what anybody say, because really, if you don't like what I'm saying, you can kiss my ass. I'm still that same person, even in my 200 show, Joe Spezio. I mean, this is the 200 show. I've been talking about you for the last 24 shows, and I'm not finished yet until you go to jail, and I will talk about you for the next 12 shows. I'm just making that clear, because this 200 show, I'm not scared. I'm not scared to speak truth to power, especially with somebody that's powerless,
because he paid somebody to get a position. So, you know, we're gonna continue to fight the power, man. You know,
no doubt. Like in the quote KRS, we will be here forever. And ever and
Yeah,
ever and ever.
exactly.
We will be here forever.
So I mean, like you know, I tell AJ all the time, man. You know, I could be someone's Joker to their Batman. You know, and if people don't understand when I say that, Joker's if you don't understand that, Joker's main thing with Batman was to make him have a bad day, right?
Lex Luthor the Superman. That's
well,
what
not
Lex
even
Luthor.
that. Joker was more. See, Joker's thing was, so someone will go nuts just from a bad day, right? Someone will end in the psych ward from a bad day, and that was Joker's mission, to make Batman have a fucked up day that he'll flip. I could be that to people, right? And I've been that to people, but I've been that to people speaking truth to power, not lies or not conniving or anything that, but speaking truth to power. So you know, this show is not going to change anything.
One of the things we did was, you know, remember people before politics, how we did the Raynette Turner.
Oh yes.
Forum.
Yes.
In Mount Vernon.
At the mansion.
At the mansion. That was
in the candlelight vigil to the police department.
In the candlelight visual to the police department.
Yeah.
That
we got
beautiful.
two.
That was beautiful.
So
I mean, we are, and we did a great Memorial Field Forum.
Oh yes,
you know,
actually,
in Andre's building.
yeah,
in Andre's
we
building,
actually hosted. That was the first forum we actually hosted. We the two of us actually hosted the forum. I you know, in doing this, has afforded me to meet a bunch of different people that all have a bunch of different skill sets and passions. And two of the other co-hosts who have come on and have contributed is Tasha Young and Tasha Diaz.
All right.
And I want to welcome them.
Yeah, wait. You know what's ironic? Before I forget, 24 shows ago, people were told not to advertise with us, not to come on the show. 24 shows later, we have the head of the Senate and the county exec sitting on the show. So just think about that. Or you hate it.
Well, in a couple of election cycles, candidates were just told not to even come on the show.
Exactly.
Not to just advertise. They were told not to come.
Exactly.
And Republicans were telling they, no, don't go on that show. Every Republican that was coming on here was told not to come. But I want Tasha Young and then Tasha Diaz, introduce yourself and tell us your favorite memory of the show or favorite interview or whatever about the show. But you got to step up to the mic.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tasha Young, and I wear a few different hats, but I'm just here as a community member and supporter of the People Before Politics radio station, Black Westchester magazine, and the Black Westchester radio show, the other one.
The Power Hour,
yeah, the Power Hour. So, you know, I think you guys, thank God for free press, that, you know, we can write without being corporate shills, I think it is, being owned by corporations. Thank God that we can speak freely on this radio show. I have a few favorite memories, but I love when we're able to talk about women's issues and women's equality, particularly women of color. And we are so often not really taken seriously and not listened to, and I'm just grateful to have that platform here to be able to talk about women's equality. From the sex worker to the first lady, all women should be treated fairly, justly, and equal. So thank you for that.
And paid equally, too.
And paid equally. Yes, absolutely.
I have my little feminist moment, too.
Yeah, that's right.
I saw a comment with Angela Davis, and he was like, yeah, I'm a feminist.
Yes. So I really, you know, enjoy sharing that with you guys and, you know, finding men that support women and women's equality. I'm very excited that Alessandra Biaggi was introduced to this program by me, and she won her Senate race. Yeah. No more 4 men in the room.
Yes, no more. Yes.
And ushering in Senator Stewart's Cousins' rightful place as leader
Yes.
by eliminating that faction under, for so many years. So under Senator Stewart Cousins, it was eliminated. And when we activists, joined together to support Alessandra Biaggi's campaign, and she won. And it's like buried now, so that's really exciting. For me.
She cut the head off the snake.
She cut the head off the snake of the IDC.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So those are a few of my favorite, but really just being a part of this family and this network of activists and freedom fighters and equality, fighters. Like I just am glad to be a part of it. So those are my favorites.
Thank you. And Tasha Diaz. First, I just want to say one thing. Tasha Diaz holds us down in Yonkers. It's hard for me to get everywhere. And she was like, just give me the papers and tell me where they got to go. And she literally meets up with me and Damon, or meets me at the van at the house and picks up everything for Yonkers and then goes to distributes all of Yonkers. So you know what I'm saying? Now we have a better representation and consistency in Yonkers, and that's just one of the things that she's brought to the table. And I just wanted to welcome her. Say hello, introduce yourself, and share any favorite moments you have from the show.
Hi. I'm getting over a little cold, so I just wanted to say congratulations on your 200th episode, Damon, AJ, Lorraine, Dr. Bob, and also for always opening up the doors for me when, it came from day one. You welcomed me with open arms. It was my choice to distribute the paper. Nobody held a gun to my head. It's just that it was real knowledge, and I felt like this needed to be out there. And I will continue to distribute the paper, God willing. And you've also made a platform for my little cousin Nevaeh. She really loves Black Westchester. Yes. She loves it to death. She eats, sleeps, and drinks Black Westchester. And Damon, she is working on that skit for your wife for the Cupcake Cutie. She didn't forget you. She almost thought she was out of a job. She was heartbroken. But we told her, everything pulled through. And I just want to say thank you. Here's like being with family. You can talk about anything. Everybody's always here for you, no matter what. And this is what we need more in the community. It's not a lot of people that, let you speak and say what you want to say when you want to say it. It's a time and a place for everything. But in Black Westchester, you can come here and speak your mind. And that's why I like to come. Because I like to speak my mind.
I wanted to show everybody. And I actually want to give Janelle a chance to say hello, too, because she actually was on one of the shows. Cynthia couldn't make it. She co-hosted with us. Sugar Ray was on the show. It was very interesting. Her, Sugar Ray, and Damon. That was very good. You could imagine the dialogue. It was very interesting. But she was on the show. I think it was like our third or our fifth show or something like that. I was just looking at the clips last night. But there's a lot of people behind the scenes to make this go. Like, you see my face and my name mostly. You see Damon speaking, the press conferences and everywhere else. But it can't happen. It's a community effort. There's a lot of people. I mean, I keep saying Cynthia when Damon was out of town. Cynthia took me down to the Eric Garner funeral. And then I was like, I met the peacekeepers. I brought a shirt. Somehow I became a peacekeeper, and they put me to work. I'm up there blocking the people so that the family can get out. Like, they got me working and everything.
I said, yo, AJ, what you doing? Nothing. I need you to come with me and do something real quick. So I took him down to Brooklyn to Eric Garner's funeral. Right?
And we up there talking to cats in East New York.
We get out the car, close the door and everything. And I was like, listen, you're going to have to bring the casket going to come out. You got to bring the casket out. He was like, what?
Then they had me, I'm with the peacekeepers. We talking kids down in East New York from, they was just on some F the police. We just going to run up and take their guns from them. And I was like, we were talking down some cats, like, for real talk. Then Danette, I also want to, people that are not here, Priscilla. We mentioned Priscilla. Priscilla, boys, she'll call everybody. Like I said, she run up at Astorino's office if he didn't give us a comment. She run right. Want me to go there? I know where the office is. I get that comment, and she'll call if we didn't get that quote, and we needed the quote, and she'll pop up, and she was holding it down. She got a lot of things she's doing. Ricky Maxwell has been a very big part of the show. Shout
Brooke
to Brooke Jones, who used to handle some of New Rochelle for us. She was taking it to JoJo's and a couple of the soul food spots and stuff for us and stuff. So it's been a lot of people. There's another cat that's new. He didn't make it today. His name is Brandon Park. Peekskill. He's going to be.
He was on the show the other day.
Yeah, the young guy that was on the show. Yeah, he's going to be a part of the show soon. And there's a couple other people that have come and gone. As we said, Atif has been holding down Mount Vernon a lot lately, and it's a big contribution from everybody. We couldn't have done this 200 episodes. In July we will be 5 years for the website. August 5 years for the radio show, and August 2 years for the paper.
Yo, big shout out to Cruz
yes,
and the owner of this fine establishment.
Yes,
bring him out here, because he celebrates 9 years today of having In the Mix Radio. Big shout out. Where you at? Where you at, man? Where you at? Come on. He's always behind the knife. You gotta come on camera, bro. Yeah, you gotta come. Listen. He always behind the scene.
And y'all can't see the fly Laker Reeboks he got
on. Exactly. He always behind the scene, but we gotta shout him out, man. He celebrates 9 years of having the studio.
Nice.
And he's been working with us, man, and he's a blessing. And we've been doing it, man. We've been doing it together, man.
And he
That's
just
right, my brother.
And he just from the time we started, he keeps updating, and next thing you know, we got new microphones,
green walls,
cameras. I showed in that video clip, I showed like at least 10 different backgrounds that we've had. like this was all him, and the fact that we were able to have Atif do the interviews in the green room. There's like all. I mean, there's so much that this studio does, and for anybody who can hear me, if you want to show this is a space out of the spots. I've been to most of the local internet stations in the Bronx and in the area. This one by far has way more to offer, and there's spots here. Y'all need to come down and get the show. If you're trying to get a show, this is a spot.
What's the number, Cruz?
So 914. Is that the right number? That's not the right number. Oh no.
You can see he's behind the camera.
914-968-6499.
No, but they changed the number. Is that the right
What's
one?
the number, Cruz?
Okay, that is the right one. Okay, because we had a problem with the other number. People was calling in. Matter of fact, you was calling in. You couldn't get through.
Yeah.
She thought we was trying to not get her on the show. I was like, we couldn't. It was a phone. The phone was not ringing. We don't know what the heck was happening. She said, "I'm getting a voicemail," and then I had a typo and they gave her the wrong number. She was like, "That ain't the right number." Yeah. So, but yeah, we had it. But this station, we appreciate all that you do, Cruz, and the support that you've had. You've actually let us come do what we do. Never put a censor on us, and
and Erica, don't forget Erica.
And Erica comes. She comes and holds down when he's not here. So yeah, shout to the Cruisers.
Shout out.
Yes.
Thank you, my brother. Yo, so before we get out of here, I just want to be. I just have to. Oh hell. Go ahead. I just got. Hold on a second. Go ahead.
All right, and we got.
Charles Stern said that his favorite show was when the AG came in.
Oh, Tish James. We had the pre-primary. That was another favorite of mine. We had the pre-primary episode where we had Senator Cousins, now Senator Biaggi, and Tish James, and they were all. It was just before it was the Sunday before the primary.
Yes.
And all three won, and it was a great show. We had 3 hours that day too. We did a special show. Another favorite show is when we had the Foursquare piece. The kids that did we had all of them. We had all of them here. That whole back wall was full. Like it was a bunch of them here. And Anthony Mitchell was here. Shout out to Anthony Mitchell. We've met a lot of people. Damon's brought Bob Law, and actually introduced me to that whole network, the Pan-African Unity Dialogue, Brother Hafiz, Captain Dennis.
What's the brother that came in and broke down how much money blacks really spend in the community?
Wait, before that? Shout to Rashad, though. He's not here today.
Money Man.
Where's Rashad? Where's the Money Man?
I invited him. I don't know where he at, but
Money Man.
Rashad is And Rashad this year,
I think he's starting a podcast. He just started a podcast
well,
like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I was watching one of them, him and somebody else.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, yo, and I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I have him on here to break down what y'all need to do with your money. And I told him this year he gonna be my financial advisor to help me get my finances in order. So it's I'm definitely and he comes and he breaks that down on how you need money to do these and his things. And again he also uses being a big hip hop fan. He uses it and breaks it down and uses hip hop references.
Yep.
And to me, that just like
what I did was
I
inboxed him the other day. So I use his Instagram page to guide my lessons in class. So I started. I recently started walking in 6th and 5th graders, sitting with some 6th and 5th graders, and we just have money talk. Right? I said, listen, I don't want you to tell me where Utah is. I don't know where it is, but I know where my money is. So let's talk about that. So I started the first class I had with them was about their net worth, and I used examples of Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj, and things of that nature. Then my second one I used straight from, I go right to his page and be like, yeah, here we go. We're gonna type up this lesson real quick.
And every time he come here, he make 3-4 videos from here.
I did it based on the NFL and the NBA and why one makes more money than the other. I took it straight from his Instagram page, and those children were straight up impressed. And so they came in the next week and was like, we're gonna talk about money today, because I call the class Money Talk, right? And so shout out to the Money Man.
Absolutely. And I also just like, I want to bring it back to, and he's the first one to say, you can't really do anything without money. And that's why we're having this somewhat fundraiser. Anybody who can, I'm sharing the link to the PayPal. Please hit the PayPal. Thanks for those who have already made a donation. Anybody who don't want to do PayPal, I'll put the address. You make a check to Black Westchester, and I'll put the address. And Lorraine actually has a bucket for anybody in the room who wants to make a donation that she's passing around. She said, I'm passing around to everybody who comes through here.
Collection plate.
So, but this
collection plate.
But again, this allows us, right? This allows us to not have a paywall like a lot of sites. Like I said, Low HUD, you read 7 articles or so, and then you've read all the free ones you can read for the month, and you have to pay. One of the local sites, now you have to pay. You see the heading to click on it, then you have to pay. No, I'm just on a local blog, a local Yonkers blog.
Oh, I didn't know
that.
Yeah,
they just did that. They had a story.
Oh, I read New York Times.
They had an exclusive story, and then but you had to pay $36 for the year to read it, and we don't want for the information never goes. It doesn't trickle down to those who need it the most.
Right.
And if we would even charge $1 or 50 cents, those people who need that information still would not get it. So we created this to be able to provide information across the board, information that doesn't trickle down. I try to put the job notices that don't normally get to our community, that people don't know exist, and all of those situations, anything like that, we try to do that, and we try to share. Again, like Damon says, we don't charge people to come on the show. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I just charge everybody $100. Like, the people that need to come on and some of the things that we need to address, they can't afford that. And we wouldn't be able to address those issues. You know what I'm saying? So that's why
the message is priceless.
Right, and that's why I know you hear me talking about money, but it takes money to make the world go round, and it takes money to continue to do this. And like I said, this is our 200th episode, and Bob and Damon and Lorraine will tell you, real talk, there almost wasn't a Black Westchester in 2019, because I was ready to, in November I was ready to dead all of this, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? It just was like, I didn't know if it was really worth it. I was ready to give up. I'm thugging it out. I'm gonna stick it out, but I need all of y'all who do support us and can to hit that PayPal link. Make a donation, big or small. Those
can
who
it be
have
recurring?
Yes, please. Also, to the paper, it's $25 to subscribe for the paper. Subscribe to the paper. They have 12 issues mailed to your house. Hit the PayPal and the email us at blackwestchester@gmail. Your address and everything, so we can start mailing you the paper. That's another thing we're offering now is the subscription. I want Janelle real quick to just say hello. Okay.
I just want to. I just
Okay,
want to
cool.
make a quick mention because I don't think it's really people are just start talking about it today. I don't think a lot of people know that the actor Terry Crews was sexually assaulted by an agent.
Yes.
And he sued the agent, and they just recently settled. But what's more disturbing is to the point that 50 Cent, Russell Simmons,
somebody else, 'cause you mentioned
50 Cent, Russell, especially D.L. Hughley, and really on Twitter, Terry Crews checked D.L. Hughley, and basically he was like, abusers protect abusers.
Well, Russell actually, that's true. Russell actually emailed
him
Cruz and told him
to drop the
it.
wanted him to drop the lawsuit.
Yo, man, me and you, we don't even talk.
First of all,
You know what I'm saying?
Russell should be worried about his own lawsuit.
No, but Russell went over somewhere in India. Russell ain't come. He has not returned back to the United States of America.
Russell need to worry about his own
hashtag Me
lawsuit
Too came out on him. That was it for him.
And his own history of his sexual whatever, right? He need to worry about all that. So big shout out to Terry Crews for standing up and dealing with this guy, because this guy was a big donator to the LAPD Foundation, and he even tweeted that his police report was kind of messed up. He having issues with his police report, but he finally settled. But a big shout out for Terry Crews for standing up. And D.L. Hughley, man, you should be ashamed of yourself, straight up. Because there's a clip on YouTube where Terry Crews talks about, he could have beat the guy up, but he'd be facing criminal charges.
Right.
So it'd be smarter to spend the same money for a lawyer and suing him.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But then these other guys talking about that have platforms. D.L. Hughley have a platform. And we cannot continue to have immature black men with these national platforms. Hey, how can even 50 even talk about Terry Crews, and he's still talking about bitches and hoes on records?
Getting the strap.
And getting the strap.
I kind of like get the strap.
I kind of like it too when it's not used. By
we know how it's used.
Get the strap.
So big shout out to big shout out to Terry Crews, because
it takes courage, man.
He took it to him.
That's right.
And the end text. The funny thing, if y'all read the text, the exchanges between him and D.L. Hughley, the end text said it all. What if I come and slap you? And wasn't no response ever. No response from D.L. Hughley. Yeah, because I know if Terry Crews hit somebody, he gonna hurt. The boy has no body fat on. And D.L. Hughley ain't built for that. He's definitely not. He's definitely not built for that. So I think he just better leave Terry Crews alone. And go about his business. It's crazy. The entertainment field is crazy. Can I
make a request? I know Dr. Bob is going to say something. There's one sentence. I just want to request from Damon, AJ, Lorraine, Dr. Bob, that we continue to talk about financial empowerment in 2019. Like, that is the revolution. We cannot help people broke.
Well, Rashad writes an article in the paper once a month.
Excellent.
And we're trying to get him back on. He used to come on this show once a month to talk about it. We're going to get that. And again, I said it to him on the air, and he is going to be my financial advisor this year. You know what I'm saying? To help me get some things in order.
Rashad,
you know what I'm saying?
I've been following Rashad for a very long time. I've also started sending his pieces to leaders in schools so they could start getting him in the schools in New York City. Yeah. He start from the little babies. That's right. Understand? And
financial literacy.
Financial literacy is very, very much important. I applaud him all the time. I love listening to everything that he says. And then he breaks it down to the simplest terms where you will definitely understand.
And you got to give a man like that respect when that's what he does for a living, and he gives out these little small jewels here and there, and he plants these seeds. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to meet him for a bigger conference or whatever, you can.
Right.
But you can just because I followed his page and I had him come about a couple of the posts that he did, and I had him come talk about those, and I had him write a story for Black Westchester about it, and you could see the people that were the comments. Y'all been following your advice for the last 6 months to a year, and it took me from here to there, or help me clean up my this, that, and other. You can tell by, you know what I'm saying, just to follow the people that are following it and what they're saying they're getting from it, and that's how you can tell. You know, but financial literacy, we talk about the civil rights, which we need to be talking about, criminal justice reform. But again, when we have those conversations, Rashad always breaks it down. Ain't none of that possible without no money.
That's right.
And it take money to move the revolution. Freedom ain't free.
That's right.
And again, you know what I'm saying? That's why we're putting a link for you to make a donation here, Bob. I know you got a couple of words real quick, and we briefly at this point.
Yeah, I just happened to see a headline while I was in the waiting room, and I wanted to share it.
He got double mic.
Relevant.
He got double mic. Double mic.
You
Look
know,
at it.
you can't get in any event. So
you got
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez warns loss of journalists will send democracy crumbling. Just an affirmation of the central role that media plays not only at the national level but also at the local level in making our democracy.
Say her name one more time.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
If you're listening and any of her people are listening, we want her on this show.
Yes.
We are trying to get her on this show in the next month or so we can have a nice long conversation with her and let her talk about her agenda and the things that she's doing. And that's one of the big interviews that we're going to. Oh, wait.
Can I just do a quick announcement for the school district?
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, I can do it. Tune in this Tuesday, January 29th, live on Facebook or live stream for a chat with Superintendent Dr. Kenneth R. Hamilton Sr. He'll be taking your questions in real time. Post your questions, or you can send your questions in. All the information will be put in the post Facebook comment section.
Okay, and your bill would be, Dr. Hamilton, your bill's in the mail for your advertisement. No, I'm just playing. No. So I want to thank everybody. Damien, is there any last words? Because we got this is it.
Nah.
I want to thank everybody in this room, and everybody who is not here who has contributed. That's actually a great picture right there. That picture right there. Can you get that picture? Is Shane still here?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Can you come over here, please, and get that picture right there?
You know what? It might appear that I'm the one who masterminded it, but it was actually
you
this I just want, because that's a great picture. Like this is Black Westchester, people before politics. This is this.
You need to
but I'm the one that you always see. I'm in all the pictures. Well, no, David's in all the pictures. I just started getting pictures because I used to take pictures of David all the time. I just started getting in some pictures. People were like, "Oh, why don't you get in the picture?" But it takes a group effort. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. It takes a group effort. I could not do this work because I do day and night. I work on this, preparing for the show, on the paper, getting the guests, and all of y'all have helped on some level or another, and I could not have done what we've done without all of you. Every last person in here, plus the people that we named that are not here. It's just, yes, you see my name as editor-in-chief and as writer, as most of the articles. Yes, you see my pictures sometimes. Gotta be trying to take pictures of everybody now because I want some pictures too. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you see Damon on the video at the press conferences, but there's so much more that goes into than just us, and we literally would not be here without all of y'all and without everyone who is listening, and the people like Charles Stern, who comes on the show every now and then, Andy from the Working Family Party, he comes on and co-hosts every now and then. There's been some Juanita Lewis has been a guest co-host every now and then, and it's about time for you to come back. I talked to her recently. She said she's coming. But I want to thank everybody in this room. I want to thank everybody that's listening. This is the 200th episode. This means a lot to me. All of y'all mean a lot to me. I appreciate all of y'all. And again, all the people listening and read the paper, we can have the best show. We can have the dopest paper. But if ain't nobody listening and nobody reading it, it would make no difference. So, all of y'all readers, get your subscriptions in, make your donations. I got the information there. And as always, you could be doing anything else, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is BlackWestchester.com presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on In the Mix Radio, giving you real talk since 2014. Yeah. Until next week, peace.
All right. 22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.